Can we have one of those?
Alexa, wire to a fish.
We have a ton of microcontrollers, nobody's using. Hey, do we have online people?
Patrick will join us later, he said.
You can always see college with the hangout. This is fun.
Ja, ich habe dann aufgeladen.
Were there any people waiting upstairs?
Miroslav. That's or that's his name, right?
Yeah. And letting him in, or is he knocking at the door?
No, I gave him mine.
Oh.
Still finishing a cigarette.
Bess, ist das ein voller Name? Bess, ja?
Ja, wir sagen Beets, was witzig ist, was hier ohne heißt, ne? Das heißt ohne.
Bess, heißt
Oh,
der?
ohne.
Yes.
Wie ohne Nachname.
Ja, was?
What's going on?
There's a coffee without.
Bess. John Bess. Wie schreibt sich?
The bias, wirklich bias.
Ah,
Joanne.
ja, exactly, Joanne.
Joanne bias. Das spricht dann.
When I opened the bank account in New Zealand, they couldn't believe that was my name, so they put my passport says.
Somebody falling down?
Hello, do we need to call something?
It's all right.
Morning.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. It should be all sit closer to the table. It's not great if we have people in other places because then all the remote people can't be here.
Unit, yeah, correct. I find this quite interesting. Separation of capital. Shares. Yes. I like this one.
So I think everybody gets to throw on the table here. We have at least 4 seats.
I want to do my laptop for the day.
All right.
He's got some work done. Okay.
If you say something, you need to be louder than because you're not close to the microphone. So just shout it out if something comes to mind.
Is the microphone working again though?
I think the
Yeah,
microphone is
the
working.
microphone was fine. The microphone was always fine. It was Hangouts at first, and I couldn't switch it off.
Mhm.
Okay, very good.
Computer glitch, so to say.
So to finish and wrap up the discussion from yesterday regarding on how much investment we actually need towards the final price. Uwe and I, we looked at what we actually paid. So we paid 50,000 euros into the company as capital, and we paid in another 18,000 in cash. Cash money was mostly used for stuff that we couldn't get an invoice for. Like for example, some of the contractors didn't invoice, some of the volunteer apartment stuff that we did initially wasn't able to invoice. Some other stuff that we did online, you couldn't get like an invoice that would work for Bulgaria, things like this. In the meantime, we have reduced the amount of the cash that we need a little bit because we are using more stable contractors. So for example, with Lubo, our handyman, or with Maggie, we now have a special type of contract that's possible in Bulgaria that they don't have. All this hassle of overhead and stuff, but we also can just pay it from the bank account. Similar for also rent payments, we now get the factura. Initially, we didn't have proper invoicing for this, so now most of it can come out of the bank account. And I think until we hand it over to the Coop, it will be even more possible. There will still be some things that require cash, or if no cash is provided, will require higher costs because some people then want to charge you like income tax and VAT and so on. So the difference for paying cash and not paying cash can be up to 25–30% for some things.
I think, like especially the cash accounting was in the beginning when we had to build the second location, the quiet space, like the heating, for instance. It was done between Christmas time and New Year's Eve. Like we had to find somebody on that time. So we couldn't have no company was able to do that. So we had to pay this in cash, to a guy who came and made it possible. And also, I think the especially when you build up something here, like starting from new, when you need to invest into the premises, this is where it's more cash intensive than when, for instance, we have this weekend where the Corner Coffee can write a factura for what we consumed, for instance. So it's a very different thing. So we need to see where we can most possibly get invoices for and do it efficiently.
Good news, however, is because we are Austrian and German, of course, even though all this is black money, we have listed all the receipts and everything, so it can be audited. Good.
It's true.
And I mean, of course, all this we can do in terms of the Coop, so everyone can see all the accounts and everything. So we will round this up to 70K as a purchase price, just still a good number. In the past, Uwe and I, we never took dividends or salary out of the company, so basically everything that went in stayed in. The only direct benefit is this minimum social security contributions that we talked about yesterday already a little bit. So as a managing director of a company or as a majority shareholder, you have to pay this minimum social security. I'm not totally sure, but I think it's about 170 left a month or so per person.
Yes,
We need one.
We actually check that. Do not have to do this for the code.
The chair human.
We ask is so.
The chair human needs to pay, and the rest, the boards, they can go. And the chair human can also be the same person for the corporations as well as for the organization.
But it still would need to be paid at least once.
Yeah.
And then of course we got free co-working membership, which is great. We also checked the bank accounts. We have two bank accounts. As mentioned, we have two companies. I think what will be interesting when we do the contract, I think we need a third company before middle of next year because we have too much revenue.
But the question is, can we take this into the organization, into the core?
Not a good idea because then if it is, I wouldn't do this. This doesn't make sense.
But then we have three companies. But
Yeah, but then we have three companies. But if you do it in the co-op, we have to do all the accounting in the co-op as well. So it's not saving money; it's just making things more difficult.
Yeah, and eventually you would probably also get this 50,000 cap at some point.
So, so basically, there will be probably one future company that we will also include in this deal.
but if the accounting
Okay,
of the organization
let's
is
not-
already the
Okay, this can be a separate topic, but not.
I
I think, you started it. I mean, when you started
No,
it,
I'm saying we will get over the
I think-
revenue, right? But the detail, if we then take the revenue in the co-op, or if we do another.
But since the co-op is already accountant intensive, it might not make any difference.
It makes a big difference because there will be more accounting expenses, which is actually expenses there.
As far as I understood as Tim, the co-op is one thing, but still within the co-op, we need to have as many companies as needed in order to keep up the 50K limit per annum.
Is this, I didn't get that. Okay, good.
Currently, the bank account 20,500 left, which is about 10,000 euro. This money will be consumed to set up the gondola location. So we won't have to prepay the rent. We can negotiate a little bit if we have to prepay the whole year or half a year or whatever. And then, of course, we have to kind of install the walls, make it beautiful, buy some tables, buy some chairs. I think the money that we have there is enough to cover the setup. If not, it will be covered from other cash flows that are coming in over the next few weeks and months. And then I also think that currently, I mean, if we don't invest anything, then currently the co-working space generates about 1,000 to 1,500 euros in free cash flow, which means that if the co-op would take over, let's say, 1st of July, there would be another 6 months of cash flows. There would be some money in the bank accounts, which is also really good because if you would start the co-op with zero money in all the corporate accounts, it makes operations super difficult because then we can't pay salaries and we can't buy stuff. Also, the question came up: what's included? So basically, we sell the companies, so everything is included that is part of these companies. So this includes the furniture that we have here, the equipment, the trademark, all the websites. This also includes all the websites for different events that we did in the past, the customer data, the mailing lists, everything, supplies, prepaid, T-shirts, and whatever. I think we should also include like a non-compete for me and Uwe, that we don't start another co-working space in Bansko. Would not be so nice.
That'd be amazing. Stick the money and make a video next to it.
I mean, you wrote Bulgaria, but if we can agree to Blagoevgrad, then it's already good. Who knows, Varna is far away, right?
Okay, so obviously we have stuff. I mean, I would say Bulgaria, because a lot of things that you do in Bansko are actually Bulgaria, like low income tax, like all this messaging. But I also wrote without prior authorization by the co-op. So if somebody wants to open a co-working space in Varna, then the co-op should vote if this is okay or not. And I think normally.
Were all the co-op members? Or just
No,
you guys?
just us, because I mean, the other co-op members, we already talked with Efton, you can't have a conflict of interest, you can still do whatever you want in Bulgaria. But I think since we started this and we have all these personal contacts, it would be super easy for one of us to say, okay, now we rent another building, we just call our friends and say, come here. But we call it co-working then. There's also some stuff that we didn't buy on the company. And personal belongings. This, for example, includes a beautiful coffee machine we have in the social space that requires a lot of maintenance, and a mini fridge that I specifically ordered for it to keep the milk cold. So, but this has been unknown and will continue to be unknown. And I think if we replace it, I might take it back. But if we don't replace it, it will stay here forever. All the super fun board games belong to me. So. Also, they will stay on loan, but this is also not something that the co-working space owns. Also artwork and the paintings, and also this thing can stay here until the co-op says we want something else on the walls. And then instead of selling them, please return them. There's some furniture that we brought into the business, like for example, the sofa in the kitchen or the small outdoor tables that we have in the summer, like in front of the bench, or the beautiful bench itself that's carved like a whole family. I couldn't convince my business partner at the time that this is a solid business expense. And all this stuff, so I will donate it to the space so that you don't have to replace it. Of course, if you don't like my beautiful whole family, I don't like it back. I have a fleet of pre-loved bicycles that were bought because members were asking, can we have bicycles if we will rent them? Reality is not a lot of members are renting bicycles, but we have a huge fleet now. So I think what we will do there, I will leave that to the space, but the first 500 left of revenue after the handover, I come back. Good thing about the bicycles, this is a cash thingy. So this could also be a source for cash for the space if you need to have cash. Then there's a doghouse in the garden. There's a long story why there's a doghouse in the garden, but also this doghouse belongs to me. I will keep it here until the dog moves in.
And then you'll take it when the dog moves in.
It's like a trap. Basically, we take the dog into that big house. There's some other stuff here stored in the space that reminded me already since a long time that maybe we should move it out. Some of it is hidden in various places, like under the bench, for example, or behind this door on our storage room. And we will see. So I will move some of this stuff out, but it's also stuff that should go anyways, probably. Also, what's not owned by the business is a volunteer apartment and everything in it, but this is something that we can then decide as a core. What do we do with the volunteer program? This is something that we want to continue. So I think initially it was a great idea. Especially when we use an apartment that otherwise is unused, and it doesn't create a lot of cost to us. But of course, once we are co-op, we have to see do we would really want to rent an apartment or not for volunteers, and what time do we want to do this? Or do we adjust this program? Yes, so basically this is everything in it. I will also post this online. I don't know if there's any questions about the doghouse or the coffee machine.
I think the computer from Svetlina is also important to her, so she's using it, and I don't need it immediately, but it's something we can think of as a future thing later on.
I also want to mention the sound system is technically mine. I never donated officially to the garden.
Okay, but this means also the co-op doesn't buy it.
Yeah.
However,
and I will also
however,
keep
I
one
always use you as an example of members donating stuff to us and pointing out the sound system. I think I mentioned.
Well,
Yes.
I will also call it on loan indefinitely, which would probably means I'll never take it back. But
So we will not charge you for storage.
yes.
Okay, good. Then plan for today. Yes.
Now I understand that we are no longer talking on 50K, but we're talking on 70K asking price for the business.
Yes, so it's
But there are 20K
That's
cash
a
included.
10K.
10K.
And a new location that isn't existing.
Yes.
So with the current cash flow, if the co-op buys the business from you, you'll need exactly 5 years to get the initial investment back.
No. So currently the cash flow is increasing. Let's say we have 1,500 per month.
That's where I come from. 1,500, roughly 15,000 per year.
18,000.
It's 18,000 per year, but we're also growing. So I think next year this is probably closer to 2,000 per month. So I think the return of investment is 3 years or less.
You have to, I mean, you know, like the second location is something which we build up right now, right? So this is not in the current cash flow, right? So that is something which will grow during the season, right? And that is an additional. I mean, this will increase the.
So even without growing, the cash flow would return 60K in less than 3 years.
No.
Yes, if you have 60,000, because you can't count the 10,000 that are in cash.
It's just 4 years. It's 18,000 a year remaining money back in 4 years.
No.
Just going concern.
No, you have to consider that there's another 10,000 in cash in the company. You have to take that out.
Yeah, we were spending it anyway. Assume there's no growth from that, right? It's the worst case.
No, this is totally not true. It's without the cash at 60K, right? If the cash flow is 18K, you recover this in 3 years, not in 4 years, without any growth. I think it's much faster than 3 years.
I think so too, but I'm just saying 10K is gone by the time we buy the company.
No, there will be another 10K in there.
Exactly. From the, if you reckon in the meantime, it's 6 months, right?
There'll be 2 spaces operating.
Exactly.
Okay, sure. So 3 years and a bit from the time we buy it in 6 months. Yeah.
And
Which is
how did you
almost
came
4
up
years.
to the figure 60K without counting the 10K cash that is available at the moment? Where is that figure coming from?
Yeah,
The initial investment in terms of building the business and putting the places together and the money that came out of your pocket, right?
Yes, so this is just the actual money that came out.
Does this include operational costs of the business throughout these first 2 years?
Of course, I mean, it's all the money that was invested in the company until today. So this is like 50K.
No. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
that's
defer
right.
investments from operational costs. of
That's
the
right. I
business.
mean, in the beginning, like we had like we started with 5-6 members or so, right, in the beginning, and the cost, like in the beginning, have been far higher. So that was the investment. So we thought, like the initial projection was like we can run the space for 25K. So that was the initial investment, and we thought, like the revenue which we will generate in the meantime will then be able to run the thing self-sufficient. But that hasn't happened. Like the initial projection was like very positive, and so we needed to put in more money, right? And that's where this came from. That's why it increased to 50K, in from the official part of it, So what we did actually, we hired the capital of the companies. So it was a capital contribution what we did, basically.
When
That-
was the
I'm not
moment
sure
that
about that.
when was the moment that the company became self-sustainable?
This summer.
Like June, was it?
Shall we understand that up until June this year, for the first 1.5 years, on a monthly basis, the business was spending more than it was earning?
Yes.
If it's only a little bit, yeah.
No, it's
I mean,
not a little-
I mean,
it's not a
it
little
was
bit.
like-
I mean,
The first year was clearly in the red, but then we came very close to that number. And I think like in the beginning of the year, I think in February or so, we have been very, very close, I guess. It depends how you reckon, like.
So if we try to do the rough figures, the first year, you were supporting the business, while the second year,
Mhm.
it was self-sustainable.
Yeah, it was more than
I mean, basically, when you look at it, so 2016, we opened officially on December 15th. So most of this 40K left that was invested is actually like furniture and things. Then 2017, there were about 32,000 euros, 64,000 left. That was invested. And this, of course, is a combination of not having enough members to pay for operations, but also for a lot of other stuff that was bought for the co-working space. And then this year, like until November, we have generated about 11,000 left, but this is mostly August, September, October. So this is when it actually started to generate.
It's worth pointing out that this is pretty typical for co-working business. Been a year and 2 years to hit sustainability. For any business.
For any business.
Yeah, but specifically also, this is typical, so that's what I'm saying.
And of course,
It's actually,
also,
it's important to see that the money basically came out of the low season, not of the high season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the high season still has to start.
Yeah.
and of course, what's really interesting is that, I mean, when we first started, there were a lot of people that came here for 1 month, but now we have a lot of returning people in returning business. So I don't think this is gonna go back. So this is also because a lot of people here are more long-term now in Barnsdorf. So the membership composition is now more of a kind of mix between people that are here long-term anyways, returning people and new people. And of course, the new people then convert into these other categories as well.
Getting backwards, yesterday, we were doing a rough math on how many members and what membership should we kind of like vote on. That would mean that now we have to find another 20K capital to buy the companies and the trademark.
35.
Yeah, 35 people.
In total.
I think it's a bit less than 35. It depends, like how we really calculate it. But if we have I mean, there's the member fee, right? But there is the
I think that's
entrance.
too complicated.
Yeah, but
Let's
the
just
joining
say
fee, I would keep,
35
yeah, the
members, we
joining
need
fee,
at
we need to
least-
keep in the co-op, because the co-op will also have costs.
If it's 34,
Yeah.
if there is cash.
Mhm.
You have to take a homeless guy, take him number just for him to tell you. Just make it work.
You show up to the space with a bunch of homeless people. You know what you're doing. It is voting block.
Yeah, people want to have this army of puppies, you know.
I can have 4 votes, right? I was told yesterday.
Go to the gypsy neighborhood. I've heard that they win elections all the time. So
Okay.
that's how you do it.
Okay, any other questions, feedbacks?
I think maybe it's good to get the opinion of the people, what they think about the kind of like asking price for the business.
For me, that's totally okay with all the work that is in it. Never got paid. For me, it seems like a very reasonable price.
Yeah, and so I mean, if it's true about the multiples for the core, which I have no reason not to believe, is worth more, so we still buy it at least 30% discount. So financially, I don't think it's the issue.
And I tend to believe the valuation of co-working spaces, considering that like both offline and online businesses seem to go roughly for that kind of 24 multiple.
Depending on how you look at it, but you know, like this 68K is the money we really put in, right? So if we pay this out, no salary, but if we pay this out, you know, like it's not all of it will be taxable, but even there is something which will be taxable. So it's like, even if you get the same amount back, you know, like we would,
because of increased value.
We would pay,
because we paid some stuff in cash. Like
we would pay on top, right? So.
But honestly, the actual amount of cash put in the company doesn't really matter for the valuation, roughly speaking.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I mean, you have to look at what is the replacement value of co-working funds. Like, what would it cost to create co-working funds?
For sure. I mean, I think a lot of what started this, like you had you organized co-working camp before this, and you had tons of contacts in like the co-working industry, let's say. So this kickstarted it in a way that like people that don't have all these connections can do as quickly. I think that's also part of the value.
Is there anybody with an issue with the new price? Maybe you can say.
I'm surprised. Not because it's not acceptable, or not because it is too high. I'm just surprised from the big difference between the starting discussion a month ago when this event was promoted, than what we were going through on Friday. I would accept the 10K cash added on top of the 50, either through building the new place or cashing out the bank accounts, but I'm still finding difficult to understand where the other 10K came from.
I mean, it comes basically
Don't get it as a negotiation or anything like that.
It's a little bit my fault, right? So I was looking at the number, what is the capital that we contributed to the company? But then Uwe reminded me that actually we didn't only pay for the capital, we also had all these cash expenses that we paid out of the pocket. And I think this needs to be added here.
I totally accept that.
I mean, it's a fair point. I agree. You know, like this is a steep curve, right? So, and I agree. We had this, and yesterday we talked about the 50K, and I'm like, why are we talking the 50K? You know, like 50K was, you know, like somehow it happened that the 50K came up. You know, and I think that was the gap for 50K. I would lose too much. This is not. I'm not really sorry. I'm not willing to do this. You know. And I agree, we should have maybe sit together before and had a closer look on the numbers. But yeah, I understand fully your point. This is true.
Don't get me wrong, I don't want to insult you or anything. US business always have the full right to even have a 100,000 asking price. And we, as kind of like buying the business from you, or like 90% of the business, because you will still stay within the core, we can either accept it or not accept.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm just trying to be
cautious.
Cautious.
Critic, like, yeah, of course.
I think that also when this event was published, there was no talk yet really about putting in a second location, so that also adds part
I mean,
of
it's
this.
really not the second location. I mean, for me, it was, yes, we want our money back. We don't want to make money on this deal, but we want the money that's invested back in. Because the cash thing is more something that goes out like more on a monthly basis and in smaller amounts. It just didn't register for me, and Uwe was
Yeah, but it
rightfully
accumulated
pointed out.
you know,
Like,
like
if you look at 2
you know,
years of cash payments, it's a pretty big number. So I was really surprised.
I mean, we said
How
we
big
don't
this number is
we don't pay membership, but by the end, the cash contributions we had were much more than the membership fee. So, and this is kind of it's something also you get easily, you know, like it vanishes from existence because it goes besides the business. Yeah. It's difficult to.
Yeah. And you don't see it on your bank statements, so you kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, then all too well.
Anyways.
Good. Anything else? Brian, other side of the room? Is somebody hiding behind Stolen? No. Good.
I'm over here.
Are we missing someone? Or are we all?
Feels like we're less than yesterday.
Yeah,
I
I
have
like
to
a little
think
bit less.
Well, Charles is not here.
I think you got it. Charles went so free.
No, he'll be up in it, but yeah, anyway.
Okay, good. So topics that are still open for today's bylaws discussions. And Peter, you're a lawyer, right?
No.
But you wanted to be a lawyer. Okay, so you all can help us with this. Then we wanted to look at tools quickly and discuss tools, like which tools could be used. Financials, I think we did. So I think we switched the financials and the bylaws. So we basically today we need to figure out how would we actually organize the co-op. Like, what is the processes? How would we vote? Who is the managing bodies? How do we elect? What do we want to get into the bylaws that is important for us? And figure out the tools we need. And then in the afternoon, I thought we did like one more final wrap-up, just to get a statement from everyone what they see also as the next steps and how we would get to the next steps. And then the idea was to go to Banya to soak in the hot springs after a long day of talking.
After 3 long days of talking.
Yeah, as you see, I discount sometimes the past.
Oh, and a nice, easy as well.
And then we have a beautiful movie for tonight, the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. I don't know if it's student, but it's basically like co-working class for 20 years. Okay.
What is the goal for today? Yesterday we mentioned we could kind of sign today already for the call.
So yes, so I think yesterday we have figured out the way how we would do this, and I mean we switched it. I wanted to do it the other way around, but what we still miss is like how would we actually operate the co-op? So now if you start the co-op, how does this actually work? Like,
I understand it, but do we start it? Do we want to start it today at the end of the day? Do I sign something?
I would love to go
joining
forward,
fee?
yes.
But
yes.
has
I would
Evan
love
already
to go-
drawn up all the paperwork? Because you're not magically going to pull paperwork out of your ass and bylaws and stuff like that.
I mean, I think it would be great if we have at least like a quick show of hands for commitment. And I think that this group that says, okay, I want to move forward, should summarize this weekend, that we see what did we agree on, what is open questions, and figure out together with Evelyn, like what is the legal structure so that we can actually sign something and move forward.
No, but the thing is, I agree, you know, to what Andreas says. I think, you know, if we are still committed, so this is the time where we should go forward with. So maybe we can make meeting minutes or something like this, and then we sign the meeting minutes and say we go forward with this, and if we say the sign-up fee is 150 or so, that we either put it on the table or we have or we transfer it or something like this, and we put this also in the minutes that everybody has this fee paid, and we also need to figure out is Ekin available today. But
No, he's not.
you know, like also Matthias and I need to commit that we don't sell the business in the meantime. You know, like anyway, maybe we can make this also in the minutes. You know.
I'm not sure if we should write this and then sign it in blood. So let's say this afternoon, we will have a show of hands, whoever wants to be in this first round of co-op people, it should be at least 7. Once we have the name of the 7 people, you sign your name in blood, and then this group will see how can we get the contract.
My pen, but you know.
To be honest, I don't disagree with signing something today, but like something very informal and let's say unofficial. It doesn't necessarily have a legal consequence for anybody, but just like it's a very different thing to put up your hand and to sign something. There's plenty of
joining
studies.
fee, right? You just give €100 or whatever it is. You go to the site as a joining fee.
I
And you
think
put that money down.
that would be great.
Can I see him left?
100 left.
You can decide, yeah. You can do the first election for that.
Okay, so in the afternoon, let's and maybe this is on a beautiful piece of paper and we will frame it. This was the initial founders of the core.
Absolutely.
But then where does this money get pulled and stuff like this?
If it's like €500 or €700, we can trust somebody.
I think so too.
Yes.
If you don't have that level of trust, other people
We'll
do
stable
it.
it.
Yeah. It's a good test, maybe.
Good. Bylaws or tools first? Bylaws.
Yeah, the shitty stuff first, and then
Exactly. That sounds great.
now always tackle the more the shitty stuff. Get the monster out of the room, basically.
You still have more energy and discipline in the morning. It beats over time.
Okay, what do we have in bylaws?
I would propose the most obvious one. Every Coop member has to be also a member of Coop and Scoop.
I don't see that actually.
If you accept that, I'm stepping out this minute.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't need the space for work.
I have
I have
friends
completely
working in software
different business.
development that are very interested in this project, but they're not going to come over to Vansco's for a month as a co-worker.
Absolutely, this is limiting the potential of the
But I think we should do it the other way around. We discussed that everybody should be having somewhat like a social membership or something like this because they need to be in the group. They need to be able to
This is
come
the
when
other
they
way.
want.
I think that the 100 hours contribution is more than a proof that you will be part of the group.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm really happy. I mean, unfortunately, we only have like, no, actually we have more. Michael as well. No, actually we have 3 people that are not really big members of our community. I mean, Stole was here at an event. Michael, I think you just saw it online that we're doing it. Miroslav is somebody who I consider part of our bigger co-working ecosystem because he's renting a lot of apartments, having a lot of members, but he's also not a member. I think this is really great to have people like this also in the co-op. I mean, also someone like Christian or Philip Brooks, I mean, these should be people that should be part of the co-op and they will never rent a desk because they need to run around town, do all kind of stuff.
It's also asking for an additional financial commitment to somebody who.
And additionally, we're also like, we don't only just want like the co-op to be run by people that are actually here all the time or very frequently. We also want like stakeholders in general informed, right? That like the bigger ecosystem, as Matthias describes it, is also involved. So it's not just local businesses and stuff like this also get involved because they also benefit from more people in Vansco.
You don't realize this aspect of it. Of course.
If they give you money,
I will kill myself now. It's over.
You can't hang yourself off your balcony. That will not be.
No, there is no way out for me.
I can give you my key.
Now we're friends.
Okay.
Now I can do your part.
How about starting with joining? If we go the process.
I would say something more important as in my eyes the most important bylaw that we should have is that no one can walk out of the co within the first 3 years.
It's not possible.
I think that's exactly the point. So the people can go, like can come in easily and can go easily.
Yes, but
But maybe not the first year or something like this.
yes, but
Maybe not just
let me tell you why I suggest that.
But it's not even possible legally.
No, but these are bylaws. These are internal rules that we
Yeah,
will
but
follow.
it's the only external rule. I mean, this is what I think the
It
only
makes
thing
no
that
sense.
are
Slavery is
Okay. I mean,
I want
Oh, yeah,
to
this is true, because
say,
in 100 hours,
my
otherwise, I
opinion
guess
why I
it makes sense.
suggest
Exactly. Let him finish because I think I know where this goes.
10 minutes ago, we have discussed that the co-op will pay membership to buy business which is costing 60,000-70,000 K. And the co-op will need at least 3 years to pay this business back. So to step on our feet and start from scratch, we need the first 3 years with no money out, guys.
Can you?
Well, you
set
can-
up
Not money out.
So you can leave maybe, but only get the money back after
Yeah,
3
you can
years.
only
So-
pay back
Exactly.
after
This
3
is it,
years.
yeah.
Also, this is not legal. We've talked about a month, right?
Yeah.
Legal, and also like, if one of you leaves, I'm pretty sure we can all absorb the cost of 100 euros each. Like, it's
Yes,
not a big deal.
But
So,
what if 10 people want to leave?
I
But then the
agree.
company dissolves and we sell it or something.
But I agree that.
Back to them.
But I agree. But I agree that
Okay,
we
so
can.
I mean,
Or back
okay,
to other
maybe
people.
maybe to make this easier, I don't know if this is possible, but for the first 10 members that want their shares back, I'm happy to take this as a buffer.
But how would this
But
monthly work?
Didn't
I
we
don't
want
know.
to have
If we
equal
fix that
rights for
in place,
everyone?
I can also-
I
I can also help you to-
No, but this would be a loan.
I think we can give you a loan interest
free loan to the
Oh, yeah, okay.
I
There's
mean,
lots of other options.
I mean, it's only 70,000 also. All of us
Oh, yeah,
wanna
we
get
can
there.
put in a loan. It's good.
Yeah, or do the payment in 3 years.
No, it's not possible.
That's possible.
No.
That's possible with in Germany with limits and everything else.
But it's
Yeah,
not
but
a limit, and Efton, we asked Efton yesterday, so only one rule that is, I mean, there's not a lot of rules about co-ops, but the one rule is that if somebody notifies the co-op that they want out, the co-op has
Within
to
1
pay,
month, if you have to hit
within 1 month, they have to pay
Okay,
out.
okay.
And before, like in my company, it was really like that. They said to us, yeah, it could be that you get your money back. I don't know when, so maybe 2 years. We got it all back the next month, but they said it could be in 2 years depending on the.
I guess the thing is like, because it is an actual 1,000 or 2,000 euros that we give in, it's not a share. It's basically, it's like their capital should be there, so it should be possible to pay that out all the time. And the reason why it exists that like in your case, they're telling you, okay, within the next 5 years, we can guarantee you, is because they don't want to cut their cash flow. But these 2,000 euros should never cut our cash flow.
Yeah, but if it's 2,000, but what if it's 20 people living in?
That's where I come
Yeah, but
from.
then the co-op dissolves.
Yeah,
So
that
would be
that's
a
something
different-
that's
that would be a
very
different story.
Then we can just sell it, right?
Okay, so but I mean, to make this simpler, I'm happy to provide an interest-free loan.
And we can finance one leaving member every month from cash flows.
Yeah.
This
And
one happens.
also, I mean, no, but the
But
cash flow is not on the co-op level.
Don't we need the cash flow to operate
Okay,
the
but
business
then
and
It's
And
an
then I'll give
then
a- somebody will give a loan.
make it
Like,
bigger?
it's about 1,000 to 2,000.
Plus, if one person leaves every month, then slowly there's only like 10 people left, then it's like the dividends are higher. So
But
look at the
yeah,
positive side.
I think like
Exactly.
I think we shouldn't think too much about it because like it's either people coming in or if too many people leave, then probably the entire thing
Like
goes
the
to.
other option, of course, is lower membership and higher joining fee from day one.
No, but I mean, this is the other aspect, right? So when we have the joining fee, I mean, the money is on the co-op level for the shares and everything, but it's not related to the cash flow of the co-working space.
Not
No, it's related to how much you have to pay if somebody leaves.
But the co-op has cash flow from joining fees, and in the future, the co-op will also have cash flow from the co-working space if we distribute into the co-op. And this money can then be used to pay out leaving members. If there's no other members that want to join, right? I mean, our initial thought was more like, what do we do if too many people want to join? Discussing what all the people want to leave. But of course, both things could happen, but maybe the balance sheet does a little bit.
Okay, so this was that point, but I want to come back to what Peter said now. And actually, this raises the question: how is the co-op connected to the co-working bonds? If we are not all members, what is the connection there?
Could we stay with one topic? How to become a member and how to leave. Maybe then discussing how is the connection between co-op.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we are switching around and
And related to that, because the the first thing is entering in the
Yes.
Yeah.
and maybe a minimum and a delay of the formation of the crop. But I think that's the first.
What is necessary to enter?
Yeah.
And just can you write down the two things we have proposed and they're all voted down so far?
Let's only put the stuff that we vote up. Otherwise, this will get too long.
Another approach could be is that like we had yesterday, we've discussed a couple of times like what should be in the bylaws and what we need to think about, and we could make a list of like things that we need to discuss and then go through them one by one. And or we can just start somewhere.
Obviously, we need to structure that, otherwise we go just back and forth and everybody shows
Like
us something.
I would prefer to do it process-wise. How the process
Yeah.
goes.
Okay, so how to enter, how to leave. I think FDM mentioned this already a little bit yesterday. So basically, what happens? Somebody notifies the co-op that they want to become a member.
Valid application.
Someone has an application. Then there's this managing board group, which is
It's called the management committee.
and the management committee already approves this application. So the management committee decides about it.
Yes, exactly.
However, then at the next general assembly, this decision has to be confirmed.
Exactly.
This is a legal process.
Okay, can you, sorry, I didn't get that yesterday. The management committee contains, like, is the chairman? I know we have.
No. The management committee is 2 people minimum.
Yes.
And they are separate from the chairwoman.
Okay.
And they are separate from the control board. Control board must consist also of minimum 2 people.
I'm not sure if the chair and the management board are really.
They are separate. I know. It's
But
5 people minimum. It's 5 people minimum.
They are separate. Management board and control board are 2 completely separate.
So
bodies.
sorry, apparently I missed that. Can you give me this?
Okay, the structure is as follows. We have a chairman or chairwoman, I would
Which
say.
is elected from the co-op members.
Exactly. And then we have the management board. And the management board,
Which is again elected by the co-op.
exactly, must consist of minimum two people. But it's a separate, minimum 2. And it's a separate, I really asked FD and I took notes, so this is I'm very clear on this, okay? So, but it's a separate entity, which controls somehow the chairwoman, okay?
Which runs the business.
And exactly, and the control board is a separate entity which is also elected by the co-op, also consists of minimum 2 people, and they are controlling what the management board and the chairman is doing. And the chairman is supposed to do what we set out in the AGM, where we want to go.
And so those 5 people all have to be separate individuals.
Yes.
Can you,
one area.
just because like I think you really like this was your basically internal discussion with FTN yesterday.
No, we talked about this as well.
If you could like put 2 bullet points on the quasi Pflichtenheft on those 3 people, like
I can make a
what are they supposed to do?
What?
What are they supposed to do? Like, what's their task? Okay, you know, we have these 3 entities. They are voted by the committee. What are their, you know, what's their tasks? Basically, what's their?
It's obvious by the name of it, management board and control board.
Yeah, but it's like what's their powers? And,
okay, so basically, like the control board is mostly to check the financials.
Control board is like internal accounting.
It's like an audit, basically the audit.
Kassenbad.
Kassenbad, yeah.
It's not only the Kassenbad, it's also because when the chairman does something which is not discussed before or goes against the values of something like this, the control board
the decisions taken on the AGM and putting the decision on place, whether it will be developing the business, whether it would be another location, whether it would be what the accountant is doing or the lady upstairs is doing. The control board is controlling whether the management board is applying the decisions taken from the co-op members, not only accounting.
I know this is only a minimum, but should they not be odd numbers so you don't get?
That the minimum is from the law. I mean, maybe we should change the law, but this is.
No, I know this is the legal minimum, but having 2 people that they don't make a decision.
I didn't understand FTM yesterday. Can a person be both in the management and in the control board?
Not in this, but I think the chairman can be part of the management board. Which is where you,
I asked him and he said one man is a chairman, and he is not part of anything else.
Yes.
And it's one human actually, so it's either a woman or a man, and he is a separate or she is a separate entity.
And if I'm in the control board, I cannot be in the management board. Or if you are
Exactly.
managing, you can be control.
Exactly. So that's why we
I
need
didn't hear that.
5 people minimum,
What he
2
did
control, 2 management, and 1.
To feel
What
the,
he did say is that the company of co-working Bansko also has a manager or a director or whatever, and that can be the chairman as well. Because they are 2 separate entities.
Or management board or control board,
Yes.
I guess.
Even though I don't think they have to. I don't know, but yes.
I only think, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong, that the chairman can also be a member of the management board.
Okay, so let's
But
not get
this we
hung up
have
on this
to
question.
ask
We will
FT.
check this.
I asked him.
Okay, let's not.
Fair enough,
specifically.
I-
Yes,
fair
okay,
enough.
good.
I'm just asking.
Anyway, I guess you will validate the final version.
Okay, so, okay, to come back to this, so the legally, so it's sending to the management board an application. The board decides, but the general assembly needs to validate afterwards. If they don't validate, then it would probably return whatever fees. Now, however, this is only the legal aspect. I think for us in the bylaws, the question is like, how do we want to accept new members?
Basically, I think we answered this yesterday or something, by saying some personal introduction, and then a simple vote. Put that down somewhere.
So what we want in the bylaws is there should be personal introduction by how many people?
I think one is
That's 1 co-op member. Then the vote by simple majority online.
Yeah.
This might be outlined in the legal thing.
No, the legal thing is what the first step is.
No, I mean, how many?
No,
Do we need a
no.
super majority or?
No, this is basically here we get before basically here legally the board decides. What we say, the co-op first gets an introduction before the board decides. The co-op should get an introduction who this person is, and then the co-op should vote, maybe online, liquid feedback, whatever. Only then the management board should accept a new member. So we instruct the management board to wait for show of hands if you want to accept somebody.
I wouldn't like to do this personally, but since we are like most likely to say 50% are not here, there's a personal introduction. I would like to see the face.
Okay, by video.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just, make like tell about yourself on a video.
Some kind of personal profile. I mean, it's not unreasonable to ask somebody. I think this will be in the application. We can ask for a LinkedIn profile, all of this stuff. 100 words on what you do for a living, what you want to join.
However, I think instead of voting here by simple majority, we should vote by supermajority, because if there's a third of the people that don't want that person, that's pretty strong signal.
Okay.
Do we want a cap on how many new people each year?
Let's define supermajority. How many out of the?
It is defined, but it's 66%.
It's out of 75% present, right?
No, I hate it. Okay, so what? 66% of what?
But also that's basically 3 out of 4 people have to vote. That's what it means.
No, here it has to be 66% of all core members, because you vote online, so we don't have this present requirement. I think it should be 66% of all.
Okay, so even if only 40% of the people vote, we can accept the
No,
vote.
it needs to be 66% acceptance.
All members, so not ones voting. Okay.
Out of 70 members.
So it's even harder than the legal requirements that we do now.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes, but I mean, you have to look at it from the other side. So if somebody really doesn't want somebody in the co-op, if you have, I mean, out of 20 people, how much is 30%? 6. If you have 6 people that say, no, we don't want this person in, this is super strong.
And what if we have, out of 12 members, 4 that are just never answering?
That's a different discussion.
No,
you
that's
can
the
still
same.
have a new member.
That's why it's in the law. If half of the co-op is never doing these elections.
Yeah, I mean,
But
basically you set a time frame for a decision, and if you don't vote, then you abstain, and then
then it's of all voting.
Yeah, but then legally it says 75% of people have to vote for supermajority.
This is not legally.
I know. I'm just saying this is.
I think that bylaws is the internal rules that we
I
accept
know,
for
but,
ourselves.
but this is a big switch that we now made with one small word change, right?
No,
Because-
I mean,
because think about it.
the law gives some requirements on specific types of decisions, but this is typically an internal.
I understand. The point is not that we have to follow the law. The point is that we can look at the law to see what they do for supermajority. Because now you can have 2 people voting and it's still going to be accepted if nobody else votes, right?
Yeah. But the question is, do we want this? And the question is not like if I have misspelled supermajority in a legal sense. But the question is that how we want to vote? We want 66% of all the people that voted online? Is this our criteria to accept a new member?
So do we need to have some kind of mandatory voting for members?
So what?
But the mandatory thing is like, what do you do if somebody never votes? Then you make it mandatory for the person to vote.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, with this, you come to basically, like, this is a passive member. He's not really, in my eyes, somebody who never votes, is not active in the
Yeah, but then
community.
you would
And he's somebody who would.
this person first, right? So this is not specific to this vote. And it's a general assembly. It's your case. There's like, John never votes, so we need to get him out of this.
And how do you remove them when, when the supermajority never votes?
Because for this, you don't need a supermajority.
Oh, okay. So, well, this is.
I think if there's someone who's
Just take off super from that sentence and leave online majority 66.
Can
you do an emergency?
Therefore, you can easily vote somebody out. It doesn't make sense to allow somebody that will also require some minimum yes votes, no matter how many people vote.
Just send it to you.
Right? And legally, it would say 60% of 75%, meaning like half the people have to vote yes. Like,
Yeah, actually, this is a good question. Does an abstinence count as a no, or does it count as like that vote just goes off the table and now the number is?
So right now we changed to it doesn't matter anymore. Before it was everybody had to vote.
So now not everybody has to.
And I think somewhere in between is the right approach, which also legally they do.
Yeah.
And so legally they say 60% of 75%, but we can change the numbers, but like there has to be some level there.
And maybe it's easier to turn it around to make a veto possible.
Yeah, how would you do this?
It's a discussion how many it's needed for a veto. Is it 1 or 3?
Which is more or less the same because.
No. You say active no.
But
With a veto, you say active no, and you don't have to say yes. If it doesn't matter for you if the person is in or out, you don't have to vote. You have to don't go online on Bali or something like that. But if you don't want it, you have to go online and say no.
Yeah.
And that's
right. This is of total members, right? Not of the vote. Of 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. You're saying 2% of 100%. Okay. So we should put it in there then.
But this is very different. I mean, now, to have this is basically you have secret Hitler joining the core. I mean, you have to think about how many people this really is. If you're in a group of 30, it means like 11 people don't like that person in the core. That's a hell of a lot of people. That's too many people.
Then we need more strict.
I mean,
Yeah, but it's not like this.
are you not happy with it? Who is not happy with it? Who is not happy
I
with
don't
it?
understand.
I would make it a positive vote.
Yeah.
And I would put.
Otherwise, it's okay.
And
People can join.
I think also we should make it a positive vote.
Yeah, I
Guys,
think
to be
2/3
honest-
of the voting people need to accept it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very easy.
2/3, 66% of the voting people.
But I also think we should put a minimum voting people number.
No. I think that we are limiting the possibilities for new members to get into the call. We are kind of like becoming too restricted.
So now 66% of the voting members need to accept.
Okay,
Which
then we
means
have
if
to
you don't
discuss-
vote,
What is a viable
Can vote if they
vote?
want to vote. And we don't have these votes in 5 minutes time or something.
What is a viable
no,
vote?
you already said like 1 month, so somebody said.
Okay, but
Can be yes,
Now it's
no,
more
or
important.
No, what is a viable amount of people which is a viable vote? How many
51.
% of our people need to vote in order to make it a viable vote?
51.
Can you add this?
Let's say for all voting outside of the legal And if other votes online 30 days from proposal.
It's too much, guys. 30 days.
Unless
Supermajority.
expedited. Okay.
I mean, a month gives, you know, not someone's personal circumstances.
I can't imagine that someone will be 30 days without a computer. Anyone in this room.
No, but sometimes
Yeah,
you
but they
need
might
to
have
figure out like
more-
what do you really want about it. So, and I think for expedited voting, we can have another process.
Interesting expedited.
Faster. But for normal, like, because also to join, for new member to join, for example, you don't need to figure this out in 2 days.
No.
What else did you say? You need to have at least
15 plus 1.
50%
plus 1 vote.
Plus 1%. 1 vote.
And we don't have it,
For
we need to start over again.
No, then it's not available.
No. So 50% of the people need. So this is the 50% of the members vote. 50% of the members need to vote. Of members need to vote. To vote. If less, then I would think we extend it by another 30 days.
But can we say 51%?
Yeah, can we say 51?
Why 51?
I mean, just
This is just the vote. It's not for the majority. This is just half of the members.
Yeah, but it's also a majority
If
that
it's
has
41 is
interested in it.
To make it welcoming, if we have 20 co-op members, 10 out of the 20 have to be part of the vote, 11 to be part of the voting, and out of the 11, 66% have to be.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This was the other referendum.
Otherwise, the proposal fails.
The referendum in Romania. The referendum in Macedonia. Only 20% of people voted, so they just said no. Same with the Macedonian.
I'm happy with that.
But yeah, we have to make sure that keeping somebody out is easy, is also in our bylaws, otherwise we make it stuck permanently. People don't vote.
Yeah, but now we're still in the entry.
Okay, normally, what people do, if we talk about parliamentary procedure, you need to have somebody who seconds a proposal. Who is seconding a proposal? So if you say, okay, let's vote about the coffee machine.
No, it's the management board. There is a legal process, right?
No, not legal. No.
Yes, it is.
What is in the management board?
The management board must accept the voting, must accept the management board is in charge of
The
accepting the
management
members.
board is entitled to accept the new member if
No,
this
no,
has been
that's not
voted.
what I'm saying. Coffee machine. This is what I'm saying. I was saying if Peter wants to make a proposal, he should find a second board member to second the proposal before we start.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't saying that also. I mean, I don't know why we talk about different things.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying you said anything. I just use it as an example.
I'm just saying keep a note for the later
No,
part.
you
discussion.
You can say my name.
I'll just say yes now.
Okay, so my question is, should proposals for votes be made by one person, so every member can make a proposal at any time? Or should a proposal always require a second member to second the proposal?
I like to say
Second it.
seconded.
I mean, there will be somebody that, like, if everybody's going to vote no, nobody will ever second it, so it's useless to put it to a vote, nobody wants to second it.
I think the idea is if you want to come up with a new proposal, something is new, proposed new, and it has not to do with the members, right?
Has nothing to do with anything.
So if I propose that we do something different, I would ask you, Miroslav, are you this proposal, would you agree to that? And if you say no, I need to find somebody else until I have a second person who says, yes, Uwe, that's a good idea. And then I can say, I propose this, and this person, Jürgen, second
Is
it.
it possible in this online tool?
I
I think it matters a bit.
that's necessary.
I think it's necessary because for me it's
I
like a
would say it's
spam
just
filter.
otherwise
basically.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I want to
do
say
this. No, I want to do this.
Yeah.
No, I want
I
to
would tend to agree with secondly.
What if we?
Because otherwise you have to
Or
be
even
settled.
three, like, it depends on the number of members you have.
This is what I was saying, like, it doesn't make sense to put everything to a vote if nobody seconds it, because if not a single person seconds it, the answer is going to be no.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
would
It
even
must be easy to find one person second if you can make
Yeah,
a majority, right?
yeah.
It
But is
can
there
simply be discussed, and if accepted
Yeah,
by
but I mean,
most of the
otherwise-
people put
No, but
together.
this is the problem. This is the problem with the discussion, right? If
Yeah.
you don't find a second person who's interested, then the discussion is
Discussion
wasting
is
time.
pointless, yes.
Yeah.
This way it's faster, it's a better process.
Yeah.
It's more streamlining. I mean, one person, you will find another person if it's a good idea. If you can't convince
I
anybody
would
of
even
us.
put like a third person if you get enough members of
Okay,
similar
but-
level.
Yeah.
How should
But
I
we
know?
need, like,
How should I know whether you will like
And
my
if-
proposal or whether she will
You
like
can-
my
you
proposal,
can ask
so I
them.
can approach you?
But you can use a tool. You can use a tool. Is anybody
I
interested?
think anyway.
Guys, could
That's
you
what I
like
mean.
have one person talking at a
Yes.
time, please?
In a way.
Everybody shut up.
You need to find one other person.
There's like 3 conversations
That's the
happening.
point.
Can one person talk at a time? This is gonna make our meetings ridiculous.
Can I
Who is
make a-
talking? Who is talking?
Can I make a proposal? And me and Peter were just discussing it.
Show.
You need more than one sponsor for a proposal.
So we are saying 2 minimum, so if you start with 7 members, you have to find a second person, but also minimum 10% of the members. So if you're 30, you can find 2
I mean,
sponsors.
don't make it that complicated. Just have, I have a proposal, I
Yeah.
need 2 sponsors.
Okay, who is for one sponsor, for one,
Who is for at least one?
at least
One sponsor.
at least one.
If it's small Coop,
Who is for 2 sponsors? Take your hand down.
above a certain level.
Who is for 3 sponsors? Who is for 4 sponsors? Okay, good.
I think the majority was by one.
Yeah.
We can change
I mean, we
this
can
later.
change it later.
Yeah.
I think that the more we do now, the better it will be in the future. I don't want to put something now and change it in 6 months, guys.
But maybe we find out. Okay, there's too many proposals that never get a majority of the vote. And then we need to make
Is
it
anybody
harder
for
to get a
zero,
proposal for voting. If you find out that the proposals always like get enough interest, then
Can we screen proposals on liquid democracy?
Yes,
Like
I
you
guess.
put it up, we vote for a discussion.
And if not, we find a score there.
I think
you
that
put
if
it up,
there is a
Or you
we all
can
chip
just
proposal,
away.
blast out an email quickly and like somebody will be like,
I
okay, that's a
think
good
that-
idea.
No,
if
No,
we-
in
No,
The
email.
entire point of this is to
I
avoid
also
this time, right?
disagree.
Not to blast
I also
sort of emails
disagree.
to get a second.
I think that if there is a proposal, the one who is
That was
proposing,
clear. Otherwise, what's the point?
okay, Miroslav.
I think that if there is a proposal, the one which is proposing it has to share it to all the co-op members. And then, if majority likes the proposal, put it to vote.
No, but I mean, the way if you're in parliament, right, the way you make laws, politicians, first you talk to some other members and see if you find some support for
Yeah,
any
that's not
proposals.
parliament.
No, but it is kind of.
But it would be like a,
Voting twice.
yeah, voting twice,
Yeah.
so it
What's
would
the
take.
difference in between those?
Discussion
just-
and proposal are 2 different things.
I just
You
mean
discuss
that
it.
for the
It's like
person.
in the parliament,
Yeah, but.
they have commissions, so everything is discussed in these commissions, and whatever is accepted goes into the parliament for voting, and the commissions are specified in terms of what they do. In our case, if we have a proposal which is related to the marketing, it will be discussed between the co-op members, which are responsible for the marketing strategy of the business.
But this is.
And then, hold on, and then, after it is discussed there, if it is approved by majority of the marketing responsible co-op members, it will come to the GM for voting, guys.
This is totally different from what we.
But this is even less democracy.
Well,
I mean, this would basically mean.
no, this is how it has to be done. If I'm a specialist in marketing, I have to make decisions on marketing. I'm sorry, guys, but if I'm
Can I
part of
make a
this co-op
suggestion?
member, 1 second, if I'm part of this co-op member, I want to use my strong sides for helping the co-op.
Yeah, but then it's, like, of course we are all sitting in the same boat, like if you come to me with a marketing question, I'm not turning away, right? So that's not the point. But I think, like if you want to come up with something new, I think this is another discussion.
So, I mean, from what I understand, and I think to some extent it will happen, right? So you have some working groups. And if in the working group, there can also be a proposal, right? So the
Yeah.
working group says we should buy a
Or
dog,
you can
for
find
example.
the sponsor.
And then
Informally, you find a
and
second
because
person,
you're in the
yes.
working group, you already have a second person who will
Yeah.
second this.
And it's gonna
So
happen.
for me, this way, for me, like to be discussed within the.
No, but this is one thing how a proposal can happen. But the other thing is like, I could have a proposal unrelated to any working group. I want to buy more beanbags.
You talk around and find
Okay.
somebody else.
And they should all be green, slimy green beanbags that explode after using it for one time.
I will
And
support
now, instead of putting this in front of the whole group and wasting everyone with discussion, should we really do this? I need to find someone else to say, hey, but this is a good enough idea that we really put it up for a vote.
Okay, my suggestion is related to Matthias, to make it quicker for the people who have a proposal looking for sponsors. If, instead of me emailing like, because we're not going to see each other all the time, but if I have an idea, I'm like, okay, I'm going to email 5 people and discuss it and try and get some sponsors, or on our liquid feedback or whatever, there's just an area for proposals. You put up, I have this idea, blah, 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 and then everyone can just say yes or no, and then we take it to a discussion.
I think we'll do tools later, but it could just be like, hackerboard news where you have like upload.
I mean, that's no informal. Let's not think it's just a technical implementation of the decision. Because I know that we will figure out a technical way.
I mean, I find it hard to imagine that if you have any real proposal that you don't want to talk with some other member to, like get some feedback before you put it to the group. So it's just normal that you're going to have a sponsor.
Most proposals will come anyway from our consultants.
Okay, I mean, we'll move on.
Okay,
move on.
Okay, so now that we have defined in general how voting will work, we come back to how can we vote for a member. And here we say, for this one, we want 66% of the voting members should accept.
Yeah. So now basically 1 in 6 can vote no and we still accept it.
And I mean, for this one, I mean, we have to see how this voting turns out.
I mean, if you take a third of 50%, so 1 in 6 can be against, so maybe we should
No,
make
it's
it higher.
1 in 3. I mean, I am also not very good with math, but it's 1 in 3.
No, I mean, we accept that if half of the people vote, right, and out of those, 2/3 have to say yes, so 1/6 is the minimum. Like you can have a yes vote.
It's confusing me even more now.
Yes, exactly. Peter, please.
No, I think that for the majority.
It's 2/3. Can we speak about thirds? It's 2/3 which have to say yes.
It's like
66. 2/3 of half.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
It's enough.
2/3 of minimum.
I know, yeah. Just
Yeah, it's 51%. It's more than half.
No, but Peter, if some people don't want a member to enter, they will vote. So,
Yeah.
the
It
number
will be
of
their
voting
interest to
is-
vote no
is-
for that person.
They will not stay passive.
If they
because
stay silent-
If they stay passive, it's accepted.
I think everything which needs to stand there stands there.
Yeah. So now that we know how to enter, so okay, then when people enter, they need to pay joining fee,
And membership.
and membership.
When they're $5.
And this is like maybe even after the GA approval.
Yeah, this makes sense.
After GA approval.
And no earlier than June next year.
In
For
our case, but this is-
founding members, membership, payment of membership.
Wait, do people have to pay a joining fee before they get accepted?
Who is the GA? Is the General Assembly?
Yeah, GS stands for General Assembly.
Until
What does it exactly
mean?
it means that legally the GA must approve the member, regardless of our votes.
You are
We need to
totally
approve
right.
it in the GA.
But legally, it's a member management committee.
Yeah.
Legal.
No, this is not.
I mean,
This is
I'm
what
not
the management committee
Sorry,
decides
to ask.
to accept the member.
Yes.
But the GA needs to approve this later.
This is
That's like the income.
Joining fee after accepted as well.
If it's possible, it's not a bad idea to have them pay the membership fee because that's refundable.
Yeah, we can always change if people don't pay after accepting. Because there's some commitment that you show.
Delayed until minimum.
Yeah.
But what we also could put in with the entire thing that we talked about July, right? For the very first members, or for the.
Yeah, but even July. So if we say we have this option for 1 year and we don't hit it by July, there's no point putting the money in July.
But
Like even if you have
do we
35
want
tomorrow,
to-
we still want to wait until June because people need time to get the money.
Yeah.
Do we want to have 1 year? I don't think no.
Okay, but this is not a bylaw discussion. This is
Guys,
the next.
This is an exercise.
There is a minimum we have to wait anyway, even if you have 35 members tomorrow. We should put it in.
Okay.
That was yesterday discussed, right?
Is delayed until July
Right, I would say
2019 and until the minimum threshold
Yeah.
is reached, right?
Yeah, we agree.
So even if we have 30 people in January, we will still trigger in June.
Yeah.
I think also the board needs time to
Yes.
set up and agree. And we will still do the shadowing, so the shadowing can start right away with members of the court, let's say they want to start
think that's
the
great.
operation.
By the way, I don't want to change topic, not at all. Sorry for the question, but what is going to happen in the transaction period between today and say June with the companies?
Can you write this down for a little later or keep it in mind?
Yesterday we discussed having this option so we can already act as a co because we know we're going to buy it if we reach the level. The only risk we take is then that we don't reach 25 members in time and then we just dissolve the co and it goes back to them.
But we can
business-wise,
put it in.
I mean, business-wise, the companies that are running at the moment and the profit or loss that they generate from now till June.
So they agreed to keep it in the company.
So
So we are spending the 10,000 euro we have now on the extra location, and the extra cash we're going to keep in the company. That's
no, the monthly cash flow.
That's going to stay in the company.
Yeah, all the cash flow was there.
Yeah, this is what we said.
And I mean, when we do the shadowing, it might be that it doesn't stay in the company because you decide you want to buy a really rare breed dog for the dog house.
So,
but this would be a decision that we allow now, already be part of the core,
That
right?
you can
So
take, you
over
can
in
be
Matthias, we will not make additional investment decisions. So we will just run the co-working space.
this is where my question was coming. Like today, the company is 70K, presuming the next location is done, ready to accept customers.
Absolutely.
From tomorrow, even though you are legally the owners of the companies, it will be us controlling what you do and how you,
we have
how you spend the.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of
This
course,
is
we
what-
have a votum, but we want you to be part already. Yes.
So if by June we all are able to sustain the companies and have, let's say, 20,000 cash in the accounts, they stay in the accounts. And
Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay, this wasn't clear for me.
I made it.
Okay, so now we know how new members can join. Then the question is like how members exit, right?
Well, it's not quite the process.
What is in the meantime? You mention these 100 hours and something.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, it's
No,
to me,
as you said, let's go topic by topic.
And the
But you
topic now,
join,
no,
you
but
join, then you are
Okay.
in the company, then you are in the co-op, and then
Personally,
you
I would
exit.
say
I mean, I would
joining,
see this
leaving,
more as a
is more important.
responsibility of the members. I don't think this is related to joining or exiting.
Yeah.
So, but I will make a note.
We have to
that
put in the
next one
requirements
is
to
like
keep members.
member
Responsibilities.
responsibilities.
Okay.
Well, leading obviously is defined by law. We only have to decide how we are asking somebody to lead or making somebody lead. This is what we have to discuss,
That's not the only thing.
not the voluntary thing.
Okay, that's not the only thing. So, as defined by law, it's giving notice, and within 7 days.
I think giving notice to the management board is the legal.
Management board.
But it's in the law, I think.
Yes, this is leaving as defined by law, but similar to joining, we have different rules that we will apply in addition to this.
Absolutely.
Within the 30 days, the co-op needs to the membership fee. Now, for us, we say we want to allow people.
Try it down, it's 2K.
Doesn't need to be in the bylaws, but as a
Because the amount might differ if we do additional investments, so putting the amount doesn't matter. Everybody might contribute at some point.
Also, it doesn't matter discussing this now.
So, okay, so what we say, we wanted to allow people to also sell the shares, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So I think the first thing that we should offer, leaving members should have the possibility to sell to the co-op waitlist first.
Yes, exactly. I agree. No, that doesn't make sense. You cannot buy 2 shares, right?
No, the waiting list.
Waitlist, sorry.
Yeah.
It's possibility, not obligation, right? So you can also sell it to a friend.
Yes, but
if they're accepted.
They can do whatever, but they should be able to sell it to the co-op waitlist first. Or they can sell it to serve.
I'm guessing the bonus of the waitlist is that the people on the waitlist are more likely to be approved. So
not only this, but it's also you don't have to search for anyone.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Hold on, I don't get this. Why would the Coop member willing to leave should search for somebody to sell his?
Because this is the membership fee, but if you do the waitlist or to sell to a third person, to get the increase of value.
Where does the wait list come from? Do we have a maximum membership
Yes.
amount?
Yes.
That's another thing that we have to decide. It's another thing that we have to decide. How we're setting up limits.
Increase of value, joining fee. Or two.
Yeah, well, okay, but this is like, yeah.
So basically, the Coop has to give access to the waitlist to everybody who wants it.
Increase of value.
That's what we're basically implying with this, right?
We'll all probably have access to the waitlist. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, yes, so, but the co-op itself,
No,
so,
it's
no, but if you're a leaving member, the process as a member, and we can discuss what.
Obvious things.
No, but it's not obvious, okay, because you're a member of the co-op, it doesn't mean that all the co-op belongs to you. It means that you're a member bound to the bylaws. If we say we have an administrative team that has access to the bank account and the wait list and whatever.
Okay, but then what is the real implication of this sentence? The leading members of possibility.
That's right. So the reason for this is that the leading member has the possibility, gets an increase of value, which is our joining fee, for the leading member, right? So one is they can select a co-op in a wait list and then they get the joining fee, right? So they have somebody who buys it and they get the joining fee. Or they can sell it to a third person. This is different from redeeming the share with the co-op.
Okay. Can I ask something?
Yes.
So if they sell to the Coop waitlist, do they ask the Coop, please sell it to the waitlist, or do they personally go negotiate with those waitlist members? There's a difference, right? Yeah. And the second one, you have to have access to all the members on the waitlist. Because that's the implication of this sentence.
No, you will not have access to all the members on the waitlist.
Then we should change the sentence because this is a legal implication of this sentence.
It says you should have the possibility to sell the co-op. You will not. So the problem is we cannot have all members access to all bank accounts.
You're opening yourself to get sued as a Coop if you put this in like this.
My understanding of his works is that we went up with 2,000K, but 3 years, maybe the Coop foundation is worth 5,000.
We understand that.
How would you get the difference between? How would you get the difference between
like
2
I
and
would say,
5,000?
the Coop member is allowed to sell to anybody on the Coop waitlist, not like should have possibility, because I can sue you say like it says should have possibility, and therefore I need to get access to this.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying, man. And these things are not details; they matter.
Okay, I mean, my opinion was more because if you're allowed to sell to any third person, it's more like access to know who wants to join the co-op. I think it's an advantage if there's a waitlist and people want to leave, that the co-op facilitates this deal.
But Matthias, you write it in bylaws from the perspective of the company, the co-op, to protect yourself, right? So if you put anything like I will grant you the possibility to sell, then you have to define what it actually means and what it doesn't mean.
Okay, so it's allowed to sell to the waitlist first. And
what does the first mean? Why the first?
Yeah, first I also didn't understand.
Before the co-op issues new share, before the co-op will sell any unassigned memberships, and the co-op will facilitate this transaction. This is like somebody was asking, what is this? There's like you want 10 more people in the co-op, and somebody wants to sell their share. The interest of the co-op would be to sell to 10 people that want to join their own new shares first, right? Because we want to be fair to the people that have been in the co-op before. We will sell leaving shares before we sell new shares.
That's fair enough.
Yes.
I don't get the fact to get the increase of value.
So we said that now, currently the business is worth 70K. Every year we will decide, do we believe that the business has increased? We will adjust the joining fee, which means in 5 years, the total cost to join the co-op could be not 1,500 euros or 2,000 euros, but maybe 5,000 euros.
To get the difference to get the difference, or to be able to make use of the difference
The increase
joining,
in value.
the increase
Yeah.
of value of the joining fee. Yeah, that's
Which
right.
means if you want to sell, if you want out, and we have people that want to join the co-op for 5K, we will facilitate the deal to sell your share for 5K before we issue your shares.
So it will be still, for instance, 2K membership and 3K joining fee, which we will today decide to be, for example, 150.
Yes.
But yes, is the definition of waitlist that these members are already approved to join? Because otherwise, this, sorry to be this pedantic on these details, but this then implies we have to accept a member that is being sold.
But we cannot approve members before we sell them a share. So I agree with all of this, Peter, but this, we don't need to define this in this little detail.
I think that we have to
The
take.
lawyer is going to rewrite all of this.
I think
will rewrite.
Everything is going to look like a mistake. Yeah.
I think that.
I mean, we can always give feedback when after it's said, right? And we can still say.
However,
Then we have to
after
discuss
you-
what kind of feedback
however,
you want to consider.
any new member needs to be approved
By the as mentioned before.
as described in the member joint process.
And also, I would say that we are defining the joining fee right here for the first until July at least, and then we can decide, like
Okay,
whatever.
Let's stay here on this topic. We will make another note
Does
about fees.
Joining fee.
Does it make sense to regulate the price of this? So if we say that the joining fee, like we value the business, we value the joining fee at that moment, the member that wants to leave basically has to sell for that price that we set?
No, because the member can redeem, right? So the whole point here is that we will always redeem for the original membership.
Yeah, but basically, so you're not obliged to make it more expensive than, it would be stupid anyways, right? But
Right.
basically, it has to match the price of the new member joining for a new share.
Okay, so let's say before the co-op will sell any unassigned memberships at the same or a lower total price. Okay. Okay. In this way, if you ask like 10,000 for your membership and the co-op is selling them for 6,000 at the moment, then the co-op is not obliged to sell your membership first because you're not asking the current price.
If you can find someone
But
to
if
pay
you,
10,000.
yeah, but if you find someone to pay 10,000, you can still do the sale. If you offer this up for 4,000 because we don't have a big waiting list, or the waiting list people say it's too expensive, you will still sell the 4,000 first. Good. Agreed.
And what if I voluntarily leave at actually, yeah, if I leave at 5K, the co-op have to pay me 5K? No.
The co-op will pay you 2K. This is your membership fee.
And the other 3K, who is gonna pay?
No.
The new member.
The new member.
The new member.
Mm-hmm.
This is a joining fee, basically, that a new member would pay.
Or the co-op will pay the 3K? Maybe
No.
if you, listen. The co-op will pay the why you say no before I finish my
Because you said
sentence?
this 5 times yesterday already.
The
But
3K are
finish
away.
your sentence. The 3K is away.
No, but you got dividends over the years and whatever.
No, you don't get that. You get the 2K back immediately because by law you have to. But the increase in value, the other 3K, you are getting as well, not immediately, but when the next co-op member joins.
No.
Yes. Actually, yes, because that's when he sold his share.
This is
So
when
if-
the new member enters and buys.
But that's a
what
different
I-
member. That's a different member though. That's not the same member, right?
So
So if you sell your shares to somebody now,
I think what he means is
okay, you're
within 30 days, he's not able
If
to
you
sell
leave,
it.
if you leave without selling, what happens then? That's what he's asking.
Exactly.
What's the time period for selling it?
Well,
Because if you write this into here saying that we'll allow him to sell his share before you sell a new share, and the period of selling a share is 6 months or 12 months, and if a new co-op member decides to join, then in a way it's sort of saying like, well, just buy his share, which is up for sale right now.
yeah, but on the other hand, the co-op has to pay the money right now.
This is why I think
then I
that
think it
the
could be up for the
access-
member to say, okay, I will wait, I will register my interest to sell my share. I'm not redeeming it for the co-op doesn't have to pay. But then the next person who is on the wait list and wants to do will buy my share, but you're not getting the money now.
Can I suggest something? I think that it will be fair if we accept a rule where anyone leaving the co-op is getting within a month membership, and within half a year joining fee as per the moment. And I think that 6 months.
This is probably not legally possible. They
It
need
would be legally possible, but the problem is this is then the court needs to come up with the money.
And that's why the co-op has 6 months.
No, but
To either,
the member has 6
listen,
months.
listen. The co-op has either 6 months to find the money and pay that leaving member, or has 6 months to find a new member to replace the leaving one.
Yeah, but then it's on the co-op, and it creates a
if
lot
you-
of problems if the co-op doesn't find new members. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
think.
don't
And
think
if
that
you,
in a
if you want to
working
leave, you
structure-
can already find the buyer before you announce it. The only way this happens is if you get kicked out, and you have 6 or 12 months. We can give you enough time. If you then fail to find a buyer, then you just make the 2K back.
Are you telling me that you will kick me out and then tell me, on top of kicking me out, find somebody to get your money from?
In 12 months,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
That's
This is,
not fair.
this is,
Let's get a wait list.
No,
this
that's
is
not
the,
fair.
this is exactly what we talked about the last 2 days. This is what we agreed on, and it's now I don't want to shift the responsibility from someone who leaves the co-op or who breaks the rules of the co-op and therefore gets removed onto the co-op to have to like make this person happy. And that's not necessarily, it's not going to be you, it could be anybody, but it's like, it's just.
And it's a risk,
It's
but you get
the
12 months.
opposite of what we've been talking about for a few days.
Can I remind, if I don't make this skip date, if the joining fee has increased 3K, it will be because during this period of time, we had distributed 3K of dividends.
No. So now we buy this house, right? So we buy this house today for 50K. And then in 5 years, this house is 100K. But the problem is that the co-op doesn't have the money, right? So this value that is created additionally is not on the bank account. And now we would force the co-op to basically liquidate or partially liquidate some assets to pay out leaving members and its increase in value. And I think this is not good for the co-op.
So then my
At least
suggestion.
I think we can put this to a vote because I'm pretty sure the vast majority,
They already
thinks
agree
we are
on
not
this.
paying the joining fee.
So then my suggestion would change a little bit and say that for the co-op members which are forced to leave the co-op, my suggestion should apply. And if you leave voluntarily, so then you have to find somebody.
But if they're forced, it means they're forced for a
No,
reason.
guys, imagine, put yourself in the shoes where the co-op doesn't want you anymore for one reason or another.
No, not for one reason or another, for a reason that is against the values of the co-op.
Yes,
The majority voted against you, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
but
So 2/3,
I
yeah,
mean-
I mean, a super majority, that means like.
I mean, what? How come do you think that somebody will be so much willing and eager to get someone else? He wouldn't even want to chat with
May I
that
do a
girl.
suggestion? Can we finish the exit on the normal level and then we make another topic for the forced exit?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
And we, like,
I mean,
I
also
think we all agree on this
I
already.
think we're all, I mean, we're being a bit intense in here, but I think like, we're all pretty nice people, and in general, I don't think we're gonna force anybody out just because we don't like them.
Yeah, but now we are 10.
It's the
Now
one
we
who's
are 10.
forced.
We are targeting 35 in 6
But
months.
if people start kicking out people for no reason, then you may as well leave the co-op anyway.
If you're forced out, you're going to want to say, okay, well, I'm being forced out, I want to at least make my money back, and you'll find someone to get your money back.
And there is a wait list.
It's
And
not
also, it's not your money back, you're getting your money back, it's the added value.
Yes.
Sorry, the added value.
Yeah, so you can never lose money basically, because in the meantime, you even have dividends, maybe, hopefully.
And some other benefits.
And if you didn't, then you just got your money back.
Absolutely.
And the only thing you lost is maybe these 100 hours per year you worked. That's the only thing you're at risk of
And if it's
losing.
too risky for you, then don't join the co-op.
Okay.
Plus, this is just unlikely to happen. It's like
Yeah, we're talking about the absolute worst case scenario.
I think 2 hours per week, like if you lose that, I mean, that's not a big loss. I think. I have lost
We're not
more
talking
hours
about, we're
than
not
you
talking
company.
about the 2 hours per week. We are talking about the increased value of the co-op.
But you are only in a part of it.
In a moment, as he says, when you are forced to leave.
Okay, so now.
If it is voluntary leaving, I'm happy with that.
May I add the option? Are we good with this?
I don't know, you have an option.
Another option for leaving, yes, becoming a friend of Bansko. And that'll be interesting. So if I want to leave the operational side of it, but I still want to keep my money in, for example, is there an option to become a friend of Bansko? And will I become a friend of Bansko with my 2Ks? or my increased value that I just leave in the code?
For the increased value, the answer is no, because it would be a loan, right? So basically you would
It
convert.
would be a loan, as friends of our loaners.
Yeah, but if you're guaranteed a loan.
So let's say we want to buy the house.
Yes.
And 10 people say, okay, I want to become a friend of funds to buy a house.
Yes.
And now I take my money, the actual money, plus this increase in value, and turn it into a loan, and in the future the Coop will pay interest on this loan. The problem is that this increase in value doesn't help us to buy the house. So basically, we take a loan for something that
doesn't
exist. Okay?
Exactly.
Let me rephrase that. Are we interested in, for example, like keeping the capital in, which means should there be an option like that?
I think there's an option, but it doesn't need to be in the bylaws, because basically the transaction you're describing is I take the 1,000 euros out of the 2,000 euros, and then I make a second decision. Now these 2,000 euros I want to use it for becoming a friend of Barnstone. So it doesn't need to be an automatic conversion. It's basically you take the money and then you put the money somewhere else.
I mean, putting it in the bylaws also risks that, like, what if the co-working space doesn't need this extra cash? Like, what if there is no big investment up front and there's tons of money in the bank account? Then we're somehow forced to pay interest on money we don't even need to.
No, first we need to do now.
This doesn't, for that reason alone, doesn't make sense.
Okay, so now forcing someone out.
Yes. And by forcing, we mean not only because we don't like him, or because he doesn't like us.
This doesn't
matter. First, let's define it. Legally, the GK votes on termination of membership.
Super majority.
So the same goes with that proposal with the second member?
No. The GO votes on the termination of a membership.
Yeah, but who's proposing it?
I have no idea who's proposing it. Efton can figure this out. But
no, I'm just saying it's the same way that we do any proposal then.
I'm not sure, because this is legal. This is not internal, this is external. So the GO votes on termination, this is super majority. As defined in the law, I don't know how many percent for that, or we figure this out. Then the membership fee is returned. But this is a legal process. And also this can only possible for violations of the Coop rules.
Yeah, values don't necessarily apply.
But the rules are the bylaws.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we can't just vote you out because you're a shitty person.
Yeah, why not actually?
Because we would need to define what is a shitty person. Since we can't even define a supermajority, I will not get into it.
Here a vote is not enough. There has to be bullet points. You don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do this. Because of this, you no longer have place here.
Well, you have to still vote on it.
So now, we still want to make it fair, right? Even if somebody is not violating our rules. Maybe Ryan is opening up the second co-working space, which we could even do because conflict of interest doesn't count.
Yeah.
So, but Ryan is selling our waiting list to a completely co-op. Because we have to kick him out for this. Okay, so we're voting him out, but he's a nice guy, so we don't want to.
Is it in the rules? Like now we have.
It doesn't matter if it's in the rules.
No, because you say only possible.
Yes, it's only possible it's violates rules. It doesn't matter now what these rules
now we have
are.
to think about every single thing people may do that we kick them out for, right?
No. Now we have to think about how do we kick someone out.
Okay? And then we will think about what are the rules and implement them.
It's only possible violations.
But the entire bylaws are the rules.
Yes.
So we're not done writing the rules.
We are writing the rules at the moment.
You're gonna miss it.
Okay, so
person can miss things.
Yeah, that's why you don't put the only
But
possible.
also,
in there.
let's recognize that people make mistakes, and we don't always vote people out when they make a mistake. We're human beings.
We still vote, right? We'll still discuss the vote. But now we have to start.
Ryan stole 1,000 leva 3 times in a row. Maybe we kick him out.
So
not good.
And I think now legally, they still have this possibility to get this additional increase in value.
Yes.
No, as long as the dividend is not distributed, but the GA decides the net profit to be reinvested in the company, you can't take anything but your
You can sell it.
But this is the dividend. If the dividends are voted on for this year, then all the members get the same prorated share of dividends.
Yes, exactly.
Efton said that if you leave during the year, you even get the prorated dividends.
But only dividends are
We
voted.
Yes,
can
oh,
make
yes,
it a
of
rule.
course.
We can make it a rule, FTM
Yes.
said. It's not standard, but
Okay,
we can make it a
we
rule.
can make it a rule. But if dividends are not voted, then you're not getting any dividends, obviously.
Yes, no, you either vote dividends
Or you don't.
or you vote money to stay in the company and grow the company.
Yeah.
And in our intention, where at least for the first 3 years, nobody.
How is this related to leaving the?
No, but I think when you're
related-
kicked out, you don't have any benefit. You're kicked out for a reason. The benefits doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I think that you should.
Yeah, what if you are
still
kicked
sell
out
your-
unfairly?
I think the share still has a dividend.
Okay, good. Let's give this guy 3 months. He has 3 months time to sell his shares.
I guess the same amount of time as
Yes.
someone left voluntarily.
Yeah, the same.
We're not a punishment board, we're just saying we no longer want to work.
It could, as
apply.
I said yesterday, you could have 5 kids in a house that you need to look after, and we've decided that your priorities are elsewhere. So
Yeah,
we
it would be for non.
But then it has to be in the rules now, otherwise we cannot do this.
So
Because we say only possible.
Okay.
Are you
Which are
telling
really
me?
things
Are you-
mistake.
are you
Like,
telling me?
add it to the rules.
This
Guys,
is legally,
let's get
this is
there.
not even this.
I'm just saying it might not be a completely negative reason that we've asked.
Yeah, but these are not impossible, these other reasons.
Sure,
Guys,
so one reason
I
is
have
the
a
100
question.
hours, right?
Guys, I have a question.
I've talked very little during this whole process, and actually I think we need a lot more order because I'm really tired of everybody talking over each other. But maybe we can structure this a little bit, but just since I haven't said a whole lot, I would like to say that the 100 hours, there could be a reason why we vote someone out because they're not doing anything, because they are very busy and they have a full
That's
family.
only
We're not
possible.
putting them out for having a family, but we're gonna put, you need to contribute this much time, and this is not a negative reason, it's just saying, you're not contributing as much as we need someone to contribute,
Yeah, that will
so
work.
sadly, we have to vote you out. Yeah, and so we shouldn't punish them.
Yeah,
I have
sorry,
a
that's what I
question.
was
Being a
saying.
human, yeah.
I'm contributing 100 hours for the first 3 years. The company grows. On the 4th year, I have twins and 2 dogs. And the 4th year, I no longer can contribute the 100 hours and you kick me out.
Yes.
What happens?
Maybe.
No, maybe. It's a rule.
But it is amazing.
Yes,
But
no,
first we have to vote on it, right?
It's a
It's
vote.
first-
It's a
No,
vote.
and what-
It's a vote.
And what
Maybe
happens?
this year
And
you
what
can't
happens with all
contribute,
the?
but next year you can.
If we understand that we're gonna allow you to stay.
Okay, but
What happens? What happens with the undistributed dividends that have stayed
Because
for the
the
growth of the
value-
company for the 3 years?
So it's the same thing that if you would leave voluntarily, so you can still try to sell the share to someone else, and then you would get this joining fee instead of the co-op. But you cannot force the co-op to pay you out this increase in value.
So how come the co-op can force me to leave, but I can't force the company to pay me back what I have given to the
Because
company?
this is our rules, and you have already benefited for 3 years from the co-op, right? So the financial thing is only one aspect of the co-op. The other are the other benefits. We are not asking
We
people
just
that.
started this morning with 70,000 euro on the table. Financial thing is.
But you will get the 2K back.
Yes, it is important, but its increase in value is not distributed to the members. The increase in value stays in the co-op for the benefit of the co-op. Unless the member who is leaving is selling their share and find somebody else who is paying for this increase in value.
So it's
And
based on the benefits of
you're not the
the
only
co-op.
one who puts 100 hours in, you know, like everybody puts 100 hours in.
Exactly.
And that's why we make it happen, right?
But on the 4th year, I'm no longer able to put my.
The point
100
is,
Yes.
if you have all this cash in the co-op, then you can sell your share for more to the next member. So you will still
Okay,
realize the
can
value. So don't worry too much about the financials, it works.
So what happens if somebody is not able to commit to the 100 hours? Can he has like a passive, can he put down a passive
We
vote?
already talked about this. The answer to this is no.
And the 100 hours are not in the bylaw?
Because we have.
Yeah, no,
started
I-
selling it, but it's
Okay.
still
going there.
member responsibilities will be.
Okay, wo kommt sowas wie Nachschusspflicht hin, dass wir die ausschließen?
Können wir auch manchmal, aber das ist ausgeschlossen.
Bei der Genossenschaft normal nicht. Das ist das Problem. Doch, man sollte da reinschreiben.
Aber es müsste ja gewotet werden. Also die General Assembly voted if it's approved, then it's approved.
Liquidation?
Ja,
Ja, nee, man kann-
okay. Lass uns mal die wichtigen Themen machen und das ganze legale Zeug kann erst im reinschreiben, was das Übliche ist. Aber ich denke, die wichtigen Themen sind erstmal, was ist überhaupt jetzt die Core?
So English?
So for now, we have figured out how to join it, how to leave it, how to kick someone out.
Yeah.
And we haven't even had lunch yet, so.
Maybe that's why everyone's so.
Okay, guys, we cannot have side discussions in it. Can you please come to the table because this is super annoying.
Table would be really,
I would
really
second
appreciate
Ryan's
it.
proposal that we maybe discuss first some way that we can do the next meeting after.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think sitting on the table is the important bit. I think we need a person who's in charge of the meeting, who gives people a certain amount of time, and then we have an orderly fashion, which people have a certain amount of time to say what they want to say, and people need to not interrupt that person when they're speaking, and if they want another turn, they can get in line.
Yeah.
But like,
Because at this point, if one person doesn't get it, we can keep talking about it forever.
Also, we're just making small talk. We're not
I know, but this is a problem because it's disturbing this process here. When you talk about one person talking, Ryan, one person talking is the person here.
Okay.
So I think if we want to have it more orderly, we need to be around the same table. Don't have side conversations in the same room. And we will have some topics, and then everyone can say what they want to say for the topic. And the German will ensure that nobody else is talking at the same time. Can we do this? Can we do this? Can you come to the table, please?
Is there enough room around the
Yes,
table?
there's enough room.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to sit in that chair.
It's also better because then we can capture this on the microphone.
Yeah, so
Okay, should we do a quick collection of the topics that we want to discuss? So the next two topics that we have on the list are membership responsibilities and fees. Are there any other topics that we consider of importance that we need to discuss it now? Obviously, these are not the final bylaws. So we will ask Efren to come up with a sample of bylaws, which will probably have a lot of other things about administration and procedures. But what is it that for the content that we need to discuss?
I would think the exact terms we are electing people for.
Okay, how to elect people.
Not, yeah, also how to, but also how long.
Yeah.
And did we agree on the number, like the total, or if there was a?
Yeah, you can do that as well.
That's very good.
Maybe as we put member responsibilities, we talked yesterday about the benefits. We put them in bylaws or something.
Yes.
right, may I just suggest something regarding the order of what we're talking about? Because I suggested this in the Facebook group, but I agree the side conversations, if you want to have one, is outside. This is a great idea. I don't appreciate the yelling since this was not established quite yet, but now I will appreciate the yelling. I think we should not yell, but I think that when everybody comes back, you should announce this new order so that everybody recognizes, like, we're doing one person at a time. I'm happy to vote for you to be the acting chair for this meeting so that you can recognize people to speak, because otherwise it's going to be constant back and forth. And yeah, that's.
But I disagree with the side discussions even out, because when you come back, you get in the discussions and you go back on some topics we have discussed, the people who are here. So when we have to make a break, we make a break.
Yeah,
when
you stay here otherwise.
Yeah. Okay.
And I disagree that Matthias is being the, was heißt Protokoll?
To write
taking
the
the
minutes.
leading the meeting, giving input. I think that's these are too many tasks at once. But maybe you could do it, or someone else. At least be kind of the moderator and giving the time. But I'd be very strict.
That's what we need.
But each of these tasks in one person is too much.
Yeah, agreed.
Would you like to take the chair? Is everybody happy with that?
Then we have to notify them.
No, there's the pie.
No, that's taking the minute. Okay, anyway. So
I would like to just say that I think if someone wants a personal break, please let them go, because I'd rather not have someone who's being sitting at the table. So please, like.
Also, just be conscious that if you go run to the bathroom, you might need to quickly ask someone what the limits.
Duly
Ask
noted.
the table what the limits.
Okay, good.
Okay, so what decisions? Who is taking the notes or is moderating the meeting?
we can vote on this. Maybe I'm fine if you just keep taking it up. But then you have to maybe less control the topic flow. But now you're not doing it anymore because you have the topics. So.
But we just said we need to control the topics more to streamline the discussions.
No, yeah. the topics we vote on, but not topics that come in your head at this moment. So that's how it's been up till now, right?
I mean, isn't that how general?
You're gonna give us something. We're having order now.
Can we like, if I'm in everyone's way walking through here, do we need to also put into the bylaw meeting structures like we're discussing right now, so that in the future we don't have this every time we're trying to make a decision?
Very good, awesome.
Okay. That means we are now still collecting what it has to be in the bylaws.
Yeah. And also, sorry, just in the meeting structure, that includes phoning in. Like if we had a meeting, there was, some of us would be in person, but some of us aren't always going to be. And what the structure for that would be. There would need to be an agenda set beforehand. How much time each meeting is, that kind of thing. Who's going to chair the meeting?
Okay, the first question is somebody else moderating the discussion now, or should I continue moderating the discussion? And if not, who is moderating the discussion?
Andreas moderating the discussion.
Okay, in this case, I think we are still on the topic that we need to collect topics, not to go into details about topics. Please.
Isn't this how a general assembly always works? Like there's somebody taking notes, somebody leading the meeting, and then there's everybody else.
Also discuss meeting structure. Then.
This is a topic of
order.
Okay. Let's start on a clean
Let's think for a minute.
Yeah.
About new topics.
Tools, which tools? We need to agree on tools as well.
Tools, yeah. But, or maybe also the actual level of financial insight and transparency we provide. Like, should we or should we not? Like those kind of things. Like at all times. Like
Financial transparency.
yeah, transparency in all kind of ways.
Okay, but he meant, we mentioned tools.
I think that the tools needs to be in the bylaw.
Yeah, no. I agree.
Who would agree that?
We can put as a topic to discuss.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we have to inform.
Yeah, inform.
Yes.
We have rules now.
Yeah, rules. Finally, they broke the rules out. I hate rules.
Yelling is forbidden.
So I think
Andrea was.
Okay, Andrea is the moderator, so it's your task to inform people.
Okay, we already did the structure. I'm the moderator now, and we won't interrupt each other. I will give the word to someone who's given the sign. And right now we are at the topic collecting what has to be in the bylaws.
Okay.
And don't want to go into details, stay with this topic.
Need a tennis ball?
If we give people a time limit on, like, I think that someone, maybe 30 seconds is definitely long enough for someone to explain the point. 2 minutes maximum.
You good? What do you think?
A minute?
Okay? A minute.
Okay.
1 minute.
We need a timer or
But
just?
no, collecting the topics shouldn't be.
I'm the timer.
Some more topics.
No more topics. I just wanted to wrap up because I have a discussion with Mira outside, and I think it was not clear, and I just want to wrap that up if possible. That's 5 seconds gone. On forced exit, the same rules apply.
No.
I want to wrap this up.
put it in
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
forced exit topic again.
Is there anything different than what's written in the minutes?
No, I just because it
Is there
wasn't,
anything different that's written on here? If not, it's not a topic.
it wasn't clear to Mira, that's why I
Here's
wanted
the
to.
topic.
And the order is gone.
Okay,
And we
if
will
it doesn't
go to that-
contribute to this
that
current conversation.
Back
anyway.
later. Oh, I write it down.
I'm just asking for Mira basically, for me to clear. So don't shout at me. I'm good.
Can we put it as a topic maybe then?
I'm good.
So we're taking it as a note and bringing it back into it. Good. Contributing with topics, more topics.
Okay. Is there any suggestion with which topic we should start? Oh, another topic?
Maybe special rules potentially if we do loans or financially like risky things, then how to define it? I don't know.
Definition of risky.
I would do like operations versus investments and how the differences.
I don't know if this is part of this conversation, but, and I wasn't here yesterday when he discussed it. But I only know the gist of it, but the Friends of Co-op, like we need to discuss what that structure would be.
Definition of Friends of Co-op.
And what their responsibilities are and benefits.
Fines.
The
goals of the company?
Finding the values and goals.
Values.
Use the moderator.
Yeah, okay.
What about the dissolution of the co-op, and if we decide to dissolve it, how does that work?
Could you please, no side talks. Now, listen to Ryan, sorry about that. Ryan, sorry.
Yes, the dissolution of the co-op, and if we decide to dissolve it at some point, how will that work?
I think we need to have the vision, the mission, and goals and values. I think these 4 things we need to have.
And create that into a nice shiny document that we can really display.
Okay.
We need to define groups and assign people in each group. By groups, I mean management, management, marketing, accounting, or whatever. But maybe this within the structure thing.
Okay, is there, do you see the necessity to go deeper into detail?
Yes.
Fine. Okay, who does see the necessity to go deeper in detail?
Maybe one more topic. Warnings, maybe. It's a topic.
Before
kicking
out.
So like
immediate thing.
Process of
Just a topic, not discuss now. Just
But you need to understand what the topic is. What do you mean?
process of voting out.
warnings to a member that you are not doing enough.
So
Without the official vote kicking out.
As Uma says, process of voting out. It's part of this process.
A step before voting out, just disciplinary action or warning.
Any type of
You're
punishments.
not happy with what you're doing.
Warnings and punishments.
Yeah.
You have a probation period to stop.
Yeah, those kind
So disciplinary probation, that's action.
We'll discuss it.
Awesome.
Okay, this is a very long list. I'm quite sure we won't make it today into each detail. Let's try. Is it
I think the first question is which topics are more important to discuss first?
That's what I would do afterwards. Any suggestions? Which topic is the most important one?
Maybe.
Yeah, scroll up.
Member responsibilities and also the structure.
Structure and responsibilities.
I would.
Who goes with that?
Member responsibilities?
And structure. Structure of groups, whatever.
Okay, it's the majority.
Okay.
How about we start with that?
Yeah.
Or you have another suggestion?
I would say maybe it's easier to define the ones that are least important, like tools and anyway. I'm open to any one.
But we have an extra session for tools.
Yeah, therefore it's more important now.
Okay.
Okay, so
How about start with the member responsibilities? Okay.
The 100 hours.
Yes.
What else?
Attend,
And is there any? Okay.
Attendance in meetings and any votes. I mean, is there like a set, is there an expectation for either? Or do we need to define that or say there isn't?
I guess one question I have is about the 100 hours, like how, is this something that we're tracking? Is this something the co-op members need to prove, or is it something we just get a general feeling about? Like, yeah, that's more of a question.
I think that's a good idea to stay with that because it's an important topic.
Maybe now we should define the actual lists and then we can define how to track it later. Or like how to spin it in another topic.
Yeah. But can we write it down? So that we talk about, do we even want to track?
Tracking that 100 hours.
Talk about sanctions.
I don't.
okay, I would up to you to provide order, but I think we said we stay with one topic and not mix the topics.
And I would stay with I would suggest to stay with 100 hours for now. First question, could we track it or not?
That's more of a question. For you?
Can we vote?
Okay.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Each person is responsible of tracking or justifying his 100 hours if the Coop asks him to justify. Because my purpose is that shouldn't happen. If we come in the Coop, we agree with giving our time. It will never be 100 hours exactly. There will be a conflict when we are not doing our part. And so, just sitting in that case.
May I propose that we quickly mention those things, and even if we don't agree, we do a vote of each element later on, maybe per topic, so we can speed up. Otherwise, we're going to have all this free flow at every single detail.
So, if I understand correctly, that what we're trying to work out is how we would track our hours and if we should track our hours.
But again,
I mean, I would suggest that we leave these details to a much later stage. So I think we discussed about the 100 hours yesterday. We said, okay, it needs to be self-managed. We need to trust people and so on. Here, this is only one aspect of the member responsibilities.
Okay, so we would stay now. We agreed yesterday already with 100 hours, no more details.
Okay.
What other topic or what other responsibility? Okay.
I think, like, we will talk about values later, but self-responsibility is one of the things, and I agree to Remy, what you said before. And I think, like, we should rather have the target than going into, like, this is my target, rather than I have 3 hours less.
But we didn't want to go into details now.
Okay, so.
What other responsibility?
I guess if somebody has a criminal background, something like that could be on the list. No criminal background.
We've all made mistakes.
We'll vote on it. We'll vote on it later. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a responsibility.
But can we put it just on the list now? We vote yes, no.
I have to vote on it.
So no criminals. You cannot. How about?
But we are now collecting member responsibilities for the membership in the Coop. It's not about their history.
I will change it. If you have a criminal record, you have to declare it.
No.
But that can be put in the application form when you're willing to join.
Put it on there, we'll vote no. You can vote no, I don't care.
But we vote now, right? Or, I mean, even.
Okay, then we first vote on the 100 hours then.
That's what we did yesterday, I thought, already.
Okay, so maybe another responsibility is you need to pay the joining fee and the membership.
Okay. Yes. Right.
Never mind.
So we're not, okay.
Okay.
I think there might be a responsibility about image we give a co-working school. I don't know how to say it, but of course not not communicating bad image.
That's a definition.
Yeah, it's subjective. So, but
it's good.
I mean, a member who is
behave as an
ambassador.
Yeah, we can say that. Yeah.
I would also, you could just define that very vaguely as upholding the values and upholding and promoting the values of co-working values.
Sounds good.
This is exactly what I want.
What about these spending 3 months in band school? What yesterday came up.
I mean, I think that putting a time requirement on people isn't ideal because we've already talked about how we might have co-op members who aren't necessarily here but are great international partners to have. So I would hesitate to put any time limit or time requirement for people to physically be here.
Okay, who is with Ryan?
I'm with Ryan, but I would phrase it differently. I would say that similar to what Peter has said, it's not a member responsibility to be 100 days in Moscow, but it could be a joining requirement to aim to build a long-term relationship with Moscow. So it's more aspirational. we will not kick you out because you can still aim and not do it, right? But I think it should be an aim of people to be involved in Bansko. And it could also be something that if you are a mass murderer, you need to disclose it before you join. So for like,
I'm gonna put it down if I say it.
So, I mean, that's two things. This is more just another topic should be like a member requirement thingy, and then this could be an example, but not put this as a responsibility. I think a responsibility is actively something we need to do now, not something that's a passive attribute of this.
What's your opinion?
Yes, this is my opinion, so I'm happy to give this an input to this discussion.
I think this goes more towards like values and vision, and certainly not member responsibility is confused more than that. Like a responsibility is not necessarily pointing out that you have a criminal record, stuff like this.
How about is,
The membership
how about
requirements.
these 3 months or these 100 days in one school? So it shouldn't be mentioned here.
I'm not under responsibility.
You can vote, I would vote.
Okay, who would like to have it in here? That at least the people want to stay somewhere longer in one school? That's a necessity.
Is there another option? Like, is there not in here, but for example, in ideal member or onboarding thing? So, for example, I could imagine that you have like you should have a motivation for Bansko on joining. This is something you would need to prove on joining, but it's like it doesn't matter if you're once you're a member. It doesn't matter. It should be manifested. You need to spend 100 days here.
Okay,
Can I suggest that, I mean, people that join need to at least come like visit for a week so they actually know what they're investing in. They looked around here and they didn't just look at pictures and join remotely, let's say. There's some requirement to spend at least a little bit of time here instead of 100 days, which I think is a little
Is
bit
this
much.
voting?
Okay,
Or
No, that's another proposal.
Just another input.
Can I just say that I feel like we're going around in circles quickly. We've just kind of already said that this is more membership requirements and membership responsibilities.
Okay,
So we need a point membership requirements. Do I see that?
Yes, close.
Okay. Oh, you wanted to say something?
Members, one of the responsibilities must be to work for the interest of the co-op by bringing business in and increasing the value of the co-op.
Hard to track.
I think it's a fair point, right? But it's like you cannot force. It's not a requirement. You cannot force somebody. I mean, you have to follow the. You have to follow and promote the values, right?
Yeah, it falls under that.
So I would in general agree with all the vague ways of doing these things because it also allows us to get out. So things like you have to show some commitment to Bansko when you apply, or you have to do things in the right way for Bansko. These are good things to put even though they're vague. Because vague things for the members makes the co-op stronger. You want to make everything the co-ops do very strict and defined. Everything members do very vague, so you have ways to get them out.
I would just counter that could create problems.
Let's go.
In defining when someone has broken a rule. If you would say that makes it easier to get rid of them, but it also makes it easier to counter that, like tell me how they did
But maybe that is
very
too much
vague
really
requirement.
in detail now already. Okay, we agreed on the 100 hours, pay the joining fee, membership fee, and other large.
What about a meeting, like a general meeting per year? You don't have to be here as a person. You have to be here as a person. Is it okay to join it online or any? We talked about that we need one.
Maybe to phrase it, members must participate in general meetings. Why are you shaking your head?
Okay.
Because now if you make this, so if you would make this a rule, it would mean if someone can't attend the General Assembly, it would no longer, we could actually vote this person out for the reason of not attending the General Assembly.
I said participate, not be here physically.
No, even participate, it means you have to reserve the block of time. If you don't, and I think this is, of course, everyone should aim for it, but we should not put stuff in that's an aim. Like, these are really hard fact responsibilities. If you don't do them, we will remove you because you are not good for the core. if you don't participate in that, you're leaving because you're busy otherwise.
This we can remove you, not we will. There's a big difference.
Yes,
so you can make like the ideal behavior of the core member as a requirement, and in practice, if somebody has a kid where it doesn't work 100 hours, you'll still allow it because it's just like human that we can see that this guy's still meaning well.
But there's a big difference between someone who says, okay, I'm not putting the work into the co-op, and someone who's saying, okay, I can't be here 15th of December, 9 o'clock in the
But I
morning.
would really try to avoid a situation where somebody, like if you all want somebody out, this person can say, like, show me the list of things that are violated, and there's nothing we can say you violated this. It's very risky for the co-op. I think you want to lean towards making it easier to get somebody not like out. That's my personal opinion.
No, not like
No,
Can I? First of all, I think that's not the kind of conversation we're trying to have right now. Is you're going too many steps ahead with how does this affect getting rid of someone? That's not what we're doing right now. But what we're discussing, like the annual general meeting, I think is very important. But we've already put down meeting structure as a topic, so maybe it needs to be a meeting structure, attendance, and scheduling. And then we can bring that back into member responsibilities once we define how the meetings throughout the year will work.
I think a responsibility could be actually to look for a proxy, if you cannot attend.
And just kind of similar to that, in this, I think it's the responsibility is to do one's best to attend meetings on a consistent basis, not necessarily to attend all meetings.
Can we also put the look for a proxy?
Yeah, or a proxy.
And voting as well.
Yeah.
Do your best to vote.
Do your best to click a button.
It's something very abstract that I would say that we should see the responsibilities that we put here, not first on the possible sanction, but on why do we want members in the corps, why we are doing the corps. What will we be useful for?
Okay, any more points under this member responsibilities?
No.
One, right?
Just maybe it needs to be included in here, as we discussed it, like, just to make it perfectly clear, you can only bring a proposal to the table once you have sponsorship.
That's a good responsibility. I like it.
It's not a responsibility, yeah.
It's
a rule, put it on the vote.
Where
elections of terms.
I was just gonna say, where would that fall? Because I agree it may not be a member responsibility, but
it's a rule.
Maybe it's a meetings and meeting structure.
Can we write it on the electoral terms then also?
Just to stop someone from saying, I know I didn't bring this up
No, it
later,
was down there.
but I have an idea.
No, du hattest unten den Punkt direkte Point down.
That should be competence, which is exactly what Carla said, which we discussed earlier, should be competence to a different position. That's this class.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Perhaps we need a new section that's missing. I don't know. Yeah, that works.
Do we need a topic? I don't know. I can't see if it's there of making changes to the co-op.
That's a very important thing.
This is what
Like changing the bylaws, yeah.
Changing the bylaws, yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. Okay, this was an easy one. Yes, I think now we go for the next one.
Members benefits.
Member benefits.
Maybe we can open the list we have, sorry.
This is
it, you're looking at it.
Oh, no.
No, we discussed that yesterday.
Now
and
we
have
are
been
talking
some
about the
things yesterday.
bylaws.
I think the proposal of Miros that we accepted was to treat the working groups after this structure. Yeah.
Well, I proposed, but I don't know if it was accepted. Hasn't been put to vote.
Like just on the structure, the topic of structure and groups, I think it will be something that's very hard to define now because we don't know everybody's interests and skills and where they want to fall. We don't even know what's required from an operations and marketing perspective. I think it could be useful to talk about the legally required positions like the control board and the management committee and share, like how many we want to have, for example.
That's election terms.
Yes, okay.
I would make a proposal to keep the member benefits in the bylaw level on a very high level, saying there are member benefits. And then define these member benefits at a later time, because if you put them in the bylaws, changing the bylaws will probably require a supermajority, which means everything that we need to change in the bylaws will always be a big hassle. Plus, at this moment, we also don't know the exact member benefits.
Well, but we can in the top 5 or top 10 benefits that everybody would like to have being a membership.
But we are not on a wish concert, we are with the bylaws now.
Aren't we writing the bylaws at the moment? So if we wish and like something, we put it in. If we don't like something and it's not against the law, we take it out.
No, we will provide input to the document that will be the bylaws, which will be drafted by a lawyer. I'm just saying, if, for example, we put now into the bylaws, then one member benefit will be that it's a free remote membership to all members. If we ever would want to change this in the future, it would require a supermajority, which makes it really difficult to change any of these benefits, and the benefits might change over time. I mean, we might find out that we don't use a Facebook group in the future anymore. But what happens is the thing we have in the bylaws.
Okay, just a second, Ryan was first.
I think two things. One is that putting some benefits, maybe in a vague way, I agree, vague, should go into the bylaws. I don't think that they should say members have benefits. I think that's too vague. But like things that we know will likely always be true. Like I think the remote membership is a perfect example. Like co-op members always retain the right to participate in the whatever online group there is for co-working events with members. Because the reason is that if it's in the bylaws, it is harder to change, and maybe we want some of these things to be harder.
Okay, good idea.
I totally agree with Matthias, because we have to make sure that the group doesn't have too many obligations. But I also think we should follow the process where people can propose benefits and then we can vote on them necessarily. You know, I wouldn't like it, I still think the group has their rights.
Can we refer to a list of benefits outside of the bylaws, but in the bylaws we refer to the list?
This is what we discussed yesterday there on the board.
Yeah, this is a list of benefits we discussed yesterday.
Is there any opinion to what Ryan suggested? At least some points we all agree already for now.
I think we have to go through a quick vote on each of these and decide which are the most important that we can put into the document, and the rest can be always added or voted.
Okay. For me, it sounds very similar, but Ryan said.
Then I suggest that we vote on whether we should refer to the list or vote on whether we should name some.
Okay.
Isn't it the same, honestly?
No, it's a very different thing.
I mean, if they're still in the bylaw, whether it's in another contract that you're referring to, or whether in the bylaw themselves, they're still equally legally obligation.
I would like to have them outside.
So, are we saying that we need to basically, all of you, but that some benefits need to be legally within our structure,
That means
defined in the bylaws, and then the rest of them aren't legally defined, essentially.
This is a class for voting. Do we define some now, or we don't define them and put it in the list?
I think the list is legally binding, even though it's not in the bylaws. The list is legally binding.
Okay.
Do you guys have an example for one that you would like to have in the bylaws that's actually worth it?
There was one example from Ryan with the remote membership.
We are currently making something which we must present and sell to other people tomorrow. In order to make it attractive for the other people to buy, we must put a decent amount of benefits which will make them buy our product tomorrow and pay their membership fee as well as their journey fee.
I would say this is the bylaw. Like if it's a marketing document, it's separate from the bylaw. This is an obligation of the co-op towards each member. So be very wary of putting anything. If you put anything in, it's like you may sell your share, whatever. This kind of thing is a legal benefit, but not like you will get forever a membership or something.
I also have another point. Currently, the co-op cannot provide any of the benefits that are related to co-working funds to anyone in the co-op, because the co-op doesn't own co-working funds now. Which means if we now define all the members should have a free remote membership of co-working funds, so this really has no implication because it's like the thing is missing. I also think that some of these membership benefits that we discussed yesterday, I think they're great ideas, but I don't think that everyone in the room has the same understanding of the implication of providing these benefits. And I think it's better to first get a better understanding and then decide about individual benefits. Obviously, there will be benefits, but if we now put in the bylaws there will be vouchers for guests, for example, I don't think we can make this decision now. I mean, I and Uwe, we have an opinion, but I don't think you have really a solid experience and opinion about if this is a good idea or not.
I just suggest we move discussing benefits to a later conversation. Focus on more tangible topics that are on the list.
Okay, who is for that?
Later on.
I know. Okay.
One thing I think it would be good for topics such as benefits to have a little bit of alone time for everybody to review what's suggested, and it's hard to, I think, make decisions in a group meeting sometimes because you're trying to synthesize a lot of information, but something like that. Yeah.
Would it make sense to put down that the mechanics on how we decide that what benefits are and what benefits we will offer for the next year, for example? This is something that goes next year without putting the benefits in there.
Selection and terms.
I think the mechanism is like any other decision. So we would put it on an online platform.
Yeah.
Somebody would suggest, I suggest we add as a benefit the free online membership. If there's a second, then we will discuss it and then we vote.
But how about taking this into the member benefits, that we define them or decide about them every year with in the general meetings and tie them.
What you was about to say, because can you just wrap it up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we're supposed to be somewhere for lunch now. Is this?
The benefits are decided.
How about if we do one more easy one?
Yeah. What time is lunch?
So you wanted to ask questions?
No, I mean, don't we have a set time? We're supposed to be somewhere.
Yes, we have a set time. What time?
Okay. So we have
plenty of time.
Then we take a quick break.
Yes.
Okay, let's have a quick break.
Okay.
How long? 5 or 10 minutes?
5 minutes.
7.5 minutes.
5 minutes. Here is first time. We have to 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was just translate. Because in Dutch is Wenskos. I don't think it's even Wenskos. I think it's say, like, if you say
don't think
Do they
through
want to
what needs to
take
be
this money now,
answered.
or do they want to take the full amount later once somebody is joining?
Has it been decided that the new member?
I don't know this because this was a whole group discussion, and I can't discuss this with you now. It's not my choice to put this in. This was a group thing that we discussed. But there's still a chance to change whatever we discuss now to later provide more feedback to it, and then at some point we will all vote on it.
When it says do both, like it says like rent or buy, oftentimes then you can just rent it for a month and say like if I like it, I will buy it and put this in the rental contract or buying intent. So I would. I'm sure even if it doesn't say rent and buy, you can probably do something like this.
Makes sense.
And if they don't, then usually that already tells you something, right?
Good point. Really good point.
No, I think it's definitely necessary, and you have to test it out in the winter, as you said. Like, don't buy stuff or even look at stuff to buy during the summer. This is a bad idea.
What does this mean? The domain ownership has expired.
This means that you no longer own the domain. It could be that you still have time because there is usually a grace period where it's expired, but you still are able to renew it. So either you didn't renew it or somehow.
I just bought it 2 days ago.
Really? Let me see it again. I read the whole email. By the way, I highly advise against GoDaddy. GoDaddy is really not a good domain registrar.
Yeah, it seems.
Namecheap and Versio I advise, but mostly Namecheap is the best for .com. You can transfer it easily. Like to restart the process, the current domain needs to request a change again. I guess something just went wrong and you need to then click this link and see what is required. It happens sometimes that things go wrong, but it rarely does. But it's another reason probably that GoDaddy is shit. It's also expensive. Not the first year.
You go into the website and you want to the help section, and then the help section says, oh no, the site is not available. There we are. The same thing was. Sorry, there's no help section.
404 error.
What the fuck? Customer service. Sorry. Really no.
Yeah, I don't say that. Maybe. And they probably pay thousands and thousands or tens of thousands or even maybe 100,000 for making this website, right? This is always the funny thing. I have so many times thought about this. Like, I know how to set up a website. I'm not a tech guy, so I don't really want to set up websites. But I know like the general principles. Hiring people in Bulgaria would be easy. I know actually like a BPO firm that's not too expensive. How about I just sell my consultancy, and I then like say for execution, you pay me 50 euros per hour, and then I just outsource it to this company I trust for 25 euros an hour, and I sell it to the Belgian and Dutch market.
You had a question about the US company too.
Yes.
Talk about it later.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be interesting because there's so much more funding and lending options.
I was going to ask you that because I've no idea what you're talking about.
And there's plenty of stuff.
Actually, I was researching Belgian subsidies.
Yes, yeah, for startups and stuff like this. There's also tax credits. Like, yeah. And there's plenty of stuff like this. But it only makes sense if you somehow have a Bulgarian company to sub the Belgian company behind it for the pay taxes.
You have like all these transfer rules. If you get big enough, doesn't apply anymore. Like, you can get away with it because nobody cares about you, to be honest.
yeah, of course.
Nobody gets extra. Oh, we're gonna get our money now from you.
Well, I mean, I used to be unemployed in Belgium, right? So they are just happy that they got rid of me.
Out of the statistics, it's not good enough, right?
Yeah. Like, we don't need to pay this guy anymore. Let's just.
This is the most you can ask for.
plus even then I'm a small fish, so like even if they would tell me, oh, you didn't do the paperwork correctly, do it correctly now, prove us that like, or even say you're still obligated to pay taxes in Belgium, so now file all your back taxes, then I would, provide them all the documents and would say, okay, you're underneath the poverty line in Belgium from what you paid yourself out, so you have to pay taxes, but your tax bill is zero. Because the first whatever amount is zero.
Why not go with Afton for 1 day to Bankfront and make?
Oh, but I mean I have my residency card, but I don't have like this official tax residency.
Yeah, it's not really necessary.
Yeah, I also think that like the only risk I'm running is that they would need to have me do a whole bunch of paperwork, which I would pay to do, but I will not pay.
Well, you have a company, right? You can get it very easily.
Yeah, I had Ricardo go through, I saw Ricardo go through this process. It wasn't so easy. I mean, he had to pay he had to figure out he had to keep all his receipts from the supermarket ATMs.
I think I'm doing for the past.
Yeah, but I haven't been doing that, so I need to do that for a whole year to really guarantee. Okay, we'll guarantee that this will happen.
I mean, you actually do live here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but proving it is always a different thing than.
Just get the electric invoices. Just get the monthly electric invoices.
Yeah, that often helps, but just having that alone is also usually not enough.
Afton told me that the receipts are only supporting evidence.
Yeah.
Companies are good.
Yeah.
Get yourself minimum wage. Tax year is good enough.
Yeah, I think in 2019 I still need to start doing this correctly. So in 2020 I can have this completely wrapped up, and then 5 years later I might be able to go back to
before the end of the year. You can get the proof 2019 already. So it's do it before December 31st. Start with it. Sure.
But then it's only a month. It's not 6 months, right?
Do we need
No, but it's gonna be like if you want to
earn
do it
some
in
people up?
2019, right? And you say from January 1st, you start the process now before January.
Sure.
Anyway.
You can also just do it 6 months in 2009.
Let's talk about our favorite topic again, taxes.
Okay, we need to wait until Andrea is back, but clearly what we're discussing now is only like a working paper. I think there's more topics that we all need to think about more in detail. I mean, Miroslav had some questions. I also thinking about it, have a few questions about things that we discussed. But we need to have something to start with, right? So my feeling is the process is we will have this document, but then we still put it in an online tool and do a real discussion.
Yeah, and then the lawyer has to look at it and say some things like, okay, this is not legal, you can't just do this, and then rewrite it.
And how about appointing a few members that do it with 3 people and they come with a proposal and that gets voted on or up parts of it, whatever. Because like with 15 people, whatever, discussing every detail is very time consuming.
Yeah, I think every member wants to be involved in this because it's a very important part of it, right?
I think everyone should have the input, but also have enough time to really think about these topics. And it's like very hard if you're just sitting there.
I mean, you've already said it. There's probably a few that it's very easy for us to put down what we need to get errors and who-based feedback from the last 2 years. So lots of love. Like we said, the member benefits. Some of them are a bit more complicated than just saying, "Oh, we all get X, Y, Z." But I think how that's going to impact them.
Guys, this is Maya. Come on.
This is very serious business.
Yeah, serious doesn't have to be. What's funny?
Oh, sorry. Another topic, pepper that.
It's very true.
That's defined by law. That's defined by law.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's just also a member leaving, right?
Yeah. Just, I mean, I know it was not that this is not a serious topic to talk about now. What if, like, just because I'm rewriting my will this month, hopefully So if I want to bequeath my membership to a family member, is that in the law or is that
It's your property. That's your property.
Never will already.
I don't will since I was 20.
Wow, I need to get going there.
I have an unofficial one.
It's just, I mean, there's
An
nothing.
unofficial one seems like you just.
No, I mean, like, I have, like, my parents will automatically get all the logins so they can figure out how to. Because otherwise, my domain names go.
Everything goes to my brother and sister. It's just a formality, but it saves my family a lot of hassle.
Yeah, I have something like that.
If I get hit by a bus, I mean, I'm a power of
And you
attorney as
discussed for
well.
like 3 weeks and you did about it before you went.
No, it has nothing to do with it.
No, it's like, it's a part of it.
Before we continue, I would like to make a concrete statement about forcing someone out because I think we forgot something there. Can we turn off the music, please? What we forgot is there's a co-op, and there's co-working Bansko. And I mean, one of the reasons why I was looking for having a co-op is that sometimes in the past we had member conflicts where members were violating the code of conduct and jobs for co-working Bansko. And I think this in the future, decisions like this should move to the co-op level, so that this is a benefit for members in the co-op actually being part of this like court, resolution court for member conflicts that relate to co-working Bansko. So I think this is one thing we need to get in. The other thing is, and I don't want to come about forcing someone out again, but the problem is that with forcing someone out, we have now often managed, okay, we don't like someone, we want them out. So this is totally the wrong framework. Because if you like someone or not, it's not a business decision. And I think if someone really gets forced out of the co-op, it's for a significant and serious reason. This is not a pity thing like I don't like your face anymore. And in this case, I think we should not provide these additional benefits that we provide voluntarily to people that leave. Because obviously a member that's violating our values has also damaged. And I think this additional increase in value is basically eliminated. And we should not have this additional period where you can get people to buy. You can do this before, but once we decide you have violated our values, you're out.
Right.
Yes.
So to kind of complement that, as we've already mentioned an idea about disciplinary action, would that be tied in like once you've been notified that you're violated in some way, we don't want to take it further, but this is an opportunity for you to reconsider your membership, and that way they can still get the added value and you that could otherwise escalate. But if they don't, then it goes further, they've been given an opportunity to get out with their added value, they didn't take it. So now.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it depends what you do, but I think there are some actions that are so grave that they hurt the co-op immediately and that we have an immediate decision.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Let's include the topic. So what would be the violation rules or something like that? The things that for any reason you must not do, not to get kicked off.
Immediately, like without any disciplinary or something.
Because obviously, sometimes there will be a moment where you will have to leave, or you will be asked to leave, or you will be voted out because you are no longer able to provide 100 hours, for instance. In such cases, I believe it is fair that you get back your joining fee and membership fee. While, as Matthias says, if you do something completely stupid and against these 2, 3, 5 things which are the core of our thing, then yes, you get punished, not by only being kicked off, but by losing your joining fee as of the moment.
All I was going to say is hard to define what something is when we don't know what it is yet. Like, because if we say, okay, so this is really, really grave, and if someone does it, I mean, I'm supporting everything you're saying. I just think the definition is hard to do because if you use like a real world example in the United States, everyone's talking about impeachment, but their phrase is like grave crimes and misdemeanors, and that could be anything. But because it's really hard to to plan for something that you don't even know what it could be.
Okay,
But I think
just a
we can
second. We leave the way now. If we go into that for now, do you want that? Do you want to talk now about the first leaving?
No.
No. Okay. But it has to be. Yeah. It has to be clarified further. Very good.
Because the idea is, yes, the board, the co-op decides, okay, you're no longer committed with your 100 hours for one reason or another, so we have to take you out of it.
Okay.
And if
Unfortunately, we stopped talking about this topic for now. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
Quick.
Yes. How about the fees? Seems to be easy to me. Is it okay for you to talk about the fees before lunch? Okay.
Okay, first membership 2000 and the joining fee. I know there has been some people that said we can increase it already right now, but we can also consider that we should always vote every month, and we can say like it may increase next month, so join now. So those are two options we have.
Okay, Ryan?
I mean, I guess one question would be about voting the increase of like the initial joining fee. Is this something that we only want to address in the annual, like the annual meeting, or is it something that we want to follow any other proposal? Like someone can propose it and someone seconds it, then blah. Yeah.
Okay, Sebastian?
We are now following the escrow thing, right? So we're not into forming the co-op and actually need some money for accounting and that, but we postpone the whole thing to June or July.
No. No.
Like because we have these two
Yes.
ways.
The reason why we didn't postpone it is
I'm
because
just asking which one are we on?
we are doing the co-op now, but the membership fee, so the joining fee will be due now, and the membership fee will be due once.
Okay. I just wanted to know like
the 2000 will be
better.
Okay.
It has to be clarified if we are talking about the joining fee until June. Is it increasing, or do we have a year annual voting about that?
Yeah, so
I think Connor.
Just really kind of saying the same thing. Personally, I would say one increase a year is enough, because otherwise, or at least at most every 6 months. But I just think like increasing it on a whim because we have a good quarter, it's too just.
Okay,
it's too big.
well, I would say because these fees are mentioned in the bylaw, this is just a change of any other thing in the bylaw, so the same process. I think
Only if you put the number in here. If you say there will be a vote,
yeah, and so
then no.
my assumption would be that we put those in, but maybe that's also something we can discuss.
Okay.
I mean, we just said not putting in specific amounts, but I think for somehow the founding, or maybe not in the bylaws, but somehow I think yesterday we kind of came up with 200 for like us now here, and then like 3 months 400 or something, I think we said, or after June 400.
130, 300, and the next step 450 within every 2-3 months frame from now.
Yeah, to have like a 200 increase or so every 3 months till we founded it, like we officially founded.
Yes.
And then from that point forward, we vote for it once, I would say once a year during the general election.
I suggest we vote on a one-time membership fee fixed at 2,000. I suggest that we vote on deciding a joining fee on an annual basis once the co-op is formed, and the joining fee will be decided in terms of amount depending on what the annual net profit of the organization is for the current year. So how much does it value? How much does the value increase that we keep in the company?
To condense it a bit, how about putting in their voting annual, and the rest leaving out for now? But how about the time between until funding?
We said it yesterday.
Okay.
I just wanted to add was that I agree with the annual thing. I think we don't want to do it all the time, but I think that perhaps if there is a major acquisition or some really major financial event that would significantly increase the value of the company, something we could consider at that time, such as the purchase of a building or something.
But that's we could
For
change
this, we'll
in our
anyways
meeting.
have a general meeting.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll have a general meeting for such
Okay.
decision.
If you want to increase the joining fee in the first 6 months to promote people joining early, I would suggest instead of doing it on a monthly basis or whatever, saying the first 15 pay this and then the next 10 pay that and the next 10 pay that. So if it takes
This
longer,
is
we have
also
to-
an idea. It's even better than doing it now.
There's like always on stress, and every day you join early is better. Otherwise, you can wait until like December 31st.
First 15, 150, second 15, 300.
We can put the number so we can all have the lower number if you join now, but then after that it goes up.
Yes.
I'm with that.
A lot.
Okay,
Basically, I want to add to that, because for me, the increase in the first 6 months is a marketing tool and nothing but that.
Yeah.
So I'm actually averse to put like a fixed number on that, but play with that as a marketing tool and have a bit of supply and demand, and we have like a range within we are talking, but there is no increase in value of the company compared to what we are doing. So this is just to get people join earlier.
This is just to get the 35 people on board.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just a question, but is there a way to combine the two? So like we want to have 15 people by December 31st and they get X amount. And then the next 15 by March 31st get another amount. And then the next
Yeah, I mean, this
15 by
is the thing. You have
June.
the goal is.
So I mean, it's false scarcity, but we're just creating a slot of 15 positions, 15 slots within a time frame. We don't have to follow that ourselves, but it gives people two incentives. There's a small number and a small amount of time.
Okay,
if it's a range like you suggest, I guess we can put in the bylaws. What we could do is have the thing like whichever comes first, like we have 15 members, or it takes 6 months and then we increase it, whatever comes first. This is the one of these two parameters have to be met for it to increase to that level. Because if it's a range, then
okay.
I would make it simple. We need 35 members. To create the Coop, the objective is 1st of July. Why not putting a joining fee for the first 35, and then the Coop is formed and we'll fix the new joining fee.
Okay, we have now two opportunities. All the same joining fee for the first 35 and one increasing one. Okay?
I think I would actually just say our goal is getting those 35 people until the first of whatever, then hand this over to a marketing team, and this is already like a 100 or a 200-hour job, and just say, make it happen with whatever mechanics you have and increasing the membership fee.
I'm against combining the number and the increase based on number and on time as well, because if it takes us 6 months to find the first 15, they want to keep it lower, because otherwise you're going to increase the price based on the date, even though you cannot find enough members. So,
okay.
I'm against having equal fee for the first 35 because we need an incentive for us being the first to put the risk. On top of that, I think that as an additional incentive to the new people that would like to join is that for the next year, 2019, the limit of membership sold will be 35. And then even if you want to join, you won't be able to join, or make the joining fee double.
Oh, then we can do the wait list.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
Jürgen?
I think from what I'm hearing, I think we can already put this to a vote, to be honest. We can say, do we want to have it for the first 35 members fixed, or do you want to have it increased? And do you want to combine time, or do you want to have it per amount of members that join?
Okay.
I think we can already put this to a vote. I think people have an opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Who is, good idea, who is for keeping it the same for the first 35 members?
So that's why I said vote.
Okay. So the rest is for increasing now.
Or can we vote also no, just to make it clear that people are not just sitting there and voting yes?
The other way around, who is voting for increasing the joining fee? In which way? Okay, great.
Increasing in a certain way, just increasing.
Increasing, just increasing.
And now we'll talk about
there are two ways to increase it, by the numbers or by the time.
Or a combination.
Okay, I taking my moderation hat off. I would say combination is too difficult. I would suggest to vote for one. Yeah, it's only 6 months.
Or we vote each individually in.
Who is for who is for increasing it by member numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I abstain. I think this is a job for a marketing team. I don't care about this.
Doesn't this make it different? We don't
It's just
have
how you feel.
We don't have the marketing team now.
I don't think this needs to be fixed.
Okay, we don't have the marketing team now. It's an extra process to install this, to start this. It will take time, maybe 1 or 2 months, until we find a solution, and there are only 4 months left.
Yeah, but it needs to be communicated to work
No.
anyways.
Okay.
We have to discuss those things now because we are going to pay the 150, whatever, 200, like very quickly, right? So, like the rough framework has to be decided not in 4 months, but now.
Yeah, today.
As a marketing person, I would suggest the numbers way because the number of members, because I think time is an artificial. That makes it more artificial to me. But there are definitely like marketing tactics. Like we could say how many members have joined and how many spots are left, on the website or communicate this to people. So.
Okay, this I would ask again. Who is then, after hearing Ryan, who's still for increasing it by members? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Online votes?
8. Who is for increasing it by time?
Okay, nobody. Who is abstaining?
Thank you, Ryan.
Who's abstaining?
Oh, you're
1, 2,
I'm happy to
3,
explain why.
4.
I just need like an hour or two to think about this. Like just right now, it's a bit too quick.
Yeah.
I agree with all of you. But
This should be simple decision, guys. It just affects the next 3-5 months.
Yeah, but it's a question of strategy.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's my marketing strategy
So-
is? It's
Vote again in the afternoon?
I would
Okay.
say
Please,
at
people.
the end of the day.
Can I
I'll
talk?
have a decision.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything involved in the setup periods involves now the Coop setup. Has to be discussed now. Of course, the way we run it after we set up the Coop, that's all for later. But like these things, we've discussed the entire weekend about this. If we need even more time to discuss, I mean, I'm out. It's going to take another week of these discussions.
It's not discussion, it's about thinking for myself. So
But
speaking for
I
me,
mean,
like,
isn't it? We discuss, then we vote, and then we move on. And we discuss, we voted, we can move on.
Yeah, I'm happy to move on to another.
yeah, for me.
Okay, that
Now
means
let's
we
discuss
that
the
means
fee
we
itself.
that means we the vote counts.
I mean, if we vote, it should count.
Okay, okay, so that's fine.
Let's now discuss the fee itself.
Let's have
So
proposals.
that means we will increase the joining fee with member numbers, and we already agreed yesterday with 150, 345.
No, we didn't agree.
Okay. So to bring a little bit speed in it, who is for the
Who has the number?
250,
Can we maybe
345?
first do round
Can
of
I-
proposals and then
can
we
I-
vote
can I
proposals?
propose?
Okay.
I propose a joining fee of 150 euro for the people that are willing to join today.
Let's say numbers now.
I'm not saying number because I
But-
don't
We have
know
numbers.
how
It's
much
just 10.
of us at the end of the day will say yes, I want to be part of it.
But we
we
just
agree-
voted that we don't do a time-based
Yeah,
thing,
we're
so
doing numbers.
you
we're
can,
doing numbers.
you're doing numbers, not time.
Okay, for the first, I propose 150 for the first 15, 300 for the next 15. No, 300 for the 15, 300 for the next 10 up to 25, and 450 for the next 10 up to 35.
I can agree with that.
Okay, any other proposals?
As long as I don't pay more than 150 today, I don't care.
Okay, what was the numbers? 150?
150 for the first
Yeah, yeah.
15,
Okay.
300 for the next 10, and 450 for the last 10 up to 35.
That does make sense.
Okay,
Because
who-
my next proposal will be we
No,
limit it
not
to
after.
35.
Not after 35, right?
After
my-
25.
After 25, yes, so that needs to be changed.
After 25 members,
But then the question is, what is with after 35?
Then
Okay.
then
This
have
is
a
what
limit
I
on-
want-
There's a limit on 35, then there's a co-op, and we're going to vote on what the joining fee is, depending on how it goes.
All the 35
because then
people
also
make
it's
the
this
decision.
June, and maybe the co-op is so much bigger. We can decide to make it a lot larger.
I think it is best if we do a waiting list after the 35th person,
Yes.
but we start with 35, the co-op.
Okay, who goes with that?
Any other proposal? Okay. Seems like we're
Could we also just say 100 euros to the first 15 actually to cover all the administrative cost stuff? Or why 150?
I mean, we don't really know how much it will cost, but the VAT accounting is probably 100 euros per month, and we wanted to have like 12 months runway. The FDM will cost a little bit, so I think it's a little bit better if we have 10 euros more per person than
being short.
Yes, exactly.
Can we write down the 35 maximum for the joining phase?
yes, but not here.
What day?
I think this is a different topic. Total numbers of members.
Until the investment only 35.
Should we also
35
add to that
members.
because someone
35.
Just because someone mentioned as well,
Unless
the
increased.
waiting list.
Until after acquisition, basically. That's what it means.
Unless increased by general assembly vote. But
My
yeah.
hand up. My hand up. Just because somebody mentioned that if we hit 35 members within this time period, but then we have 10 more people approaching.
Waiting
are we
list.
gonna- Yeah, but this is what I'm asking. Are we going, so we're gonna set the waiting list up within this time frame as well? Sure.
Yeah,
So
it's
do we need
possible.
to structure the waiting
That's-
list? And how that would work?
Yeah, now we can just do whatever we do with any new waiting list member, and we can still decide to make them join, but then we
So
can
we're
also
starting
change
that-
the joining fee before we do that.
So we're starting that process before June.
Yeah, and so the initially means until the acquisition of Coop in Alska. That's what initially means. And I would put it like precise.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
So Matthias?
Okay.
So change initially to until the acquisition of Coop in
And
Alska.
so then once the co-op is formed, it will have its first GA on which it will decide how much will be the joining fee for the new members after the 35th person. Whether it will
Yeah,
stay.
that is for them.
Yeah, this is for them. We start at the moment we reach 35. It might be in 2 months, it might be in 6 months, it might be in 8 months.
I would just
Okay.
ask a question. Do you remember we voted yesterday how many we were voting with intention? Because I think
12?
maybe we were already 15, no?
No,
12 or
Just,
13.
just under 15.
Okay,
Yes,
but
it will be
clearly-
fine.
but clearly everyone in the room. So
Plus-
we will adjust the numbers that whoever decides now, right? So it's like we decide now because we need money. Then the next people that join, they already have more information, right? It's already further progress. But if now tomorrow somebody from our members says, "Hey, I want to be part of it," then we should allow them also this thing, right?
Okay, but this is an extra rule you open up now. If we say now 15,
Yeah.
and someone else from the members.
Then we can, I guess we can all vote yes if there's 17 of us.
I mean, the question is, why do we say 15?
Because I think that within the people being here for the weekend,
To
we
be
can
honest-
cope with 15.
So what would,
To be honest, I would subsidize this number with this weekend's participants willing after this weekend, because we need an advantage because we planned the whole shit.
We paid
And after
75.
that,
I will pay 75 euro to be here. this
Who
weekend.
thinks
Not
that's a
that
good
we
idea?
didn't eat enough for
That's
this.
a good idea. Who thinks that's a good idea? What Sebastian mentioned.
What's the exact idea?
everybody in this founding committee, this founding round today is on 150, and everybody beyond that is on more.
Yes, yes.
I think this was kind of the general idea of the 15, right?
Yeah,
but this is what I said, and then someone said we need a number.
Okay, then it's different. Then the joining fee for whoever signed up to this weekend is 150.
Thanks. This is
And also right away. Yeah?
and then up to.
What do you mean, and right away?
But not in June.
The joining fee is now.
The joining fee is now. So everyone who is signed up for this weekend can do this for 150.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
And now the question would be
George.
for the participants here or for all?
So my question has to do with the membership fee of 2,000, which is every single person we're saying, okay, until we get 35 people who say yes and have paid the joining fee. And then once that day hits, everybody needs to send their 2,000. I bring this up because I have a bit of a concern about it, because like someone committing, like giving like 300 euros saying yes I'm in, and then when the bill actually comes for 2,000 might be like
yeah,
Okay,
then they lose the
good
300.
point, but
Yeah,
I would,
this is true. Yeah.
good point, I would put this back. First
okay.
of all, bringing the joining fee to an end.
Yeah.
Well, I think the number.
Just
Raise
raise your hand.
One suggestion. Based
Not
on
all the participants.
Miriam.
based on just a recent experience, yes, our date is June 1st, but we could get people to sign a contract to commit to a date before then as well. So you're signing, like, we want it done by June 1st, but maybe we don't want 35 people all handing over 2,000 euro on May 31st. So if I join now and say, okay, I'm going to pay 2,000 and I commit to a date between now and June to hand over my installment.
This is again regarding the membership, not the joining fee. Okay.
But I think we discussed this yesterday. We needed this time limit. Even if you have 35 people tomorrow, you still need to wait until June because people need to get money.
I agree. I'm just saying give people the opportunity. They don't have to use it to commit
You can give
earlier.
money to anybody you want anytime.
Okay.
To you. I will take it.
Regarding the membership fee.
No, we are still with the joining. We are still with the joining fee. I would like to bring this to an end.
I've just one more question, but I think it's already been answered. Brought up yesterday. Is 150 open to any of the current co-working band school members? Just as an example, John and Josh didn't come this weekend, but would still like to join. Do they pay 150 or do they wait for time?
If you have limited research.
You have it also.
Okay.
Different
okay.
They all know when they ask.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we just redefined that, just kind of, it was really quick, but we decided that for the people who came to the weekend, they have the right to have the joining fee at 150. Anybody after that is 300, or we can talk about that number.
The next 10.
Until the next 10.
300.
Should we make it up to a certain amount so that we don't end up at like 22 or 31?
25.
Up to 25.
Up to 25, okay.
Okay.
The remote people, what's with the remote people?
They're included.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I hear
Okay.
one more comment. I hear what you're saying. I think it would be fair to offer this to current members of co-working Bansko. Maybe not at 150, but maybe at 200 if they decide within the next week.
That's all I was going to say. Maybe there's a middle figure for them. I think that's fair.
Okay, this summary is 150 for the people who signed up for this weekend, 200 for the people co-working Bansko within the next week, no matter what number.
Make it 225 so they cover 75.
No, but you ate for 60 euros, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you so far with me?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 300 up to 25.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last 10.
The last 10 must be 450.
450.
It must be so.
Who agrees with that procedure?
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Very nice. We are done with this fee.
Say up to 25.
Now the membership
We
fee
agreed just on
is
this.
still a
Up to
topic.
25.
This was just the joining fee.
No, I'm just.
You need
I
to
wanted
change
ask whether we might
the,
have
sorry,
missed
there
it.
is a
We
misunderstanding.
talk
We need
about
the
the-
joining fee for up to 25 members is what we just agreed now.
Did we speak about the 35 members for 2019?
No.
Not yet?
No, it's
Not
second
yet.
line. Membership is fixed. The membership fee is due immediately.
No,
once
no,
25
no.
have joined, but not before July 19th. And now I wanna suggest about the membership fee and the time frame for payment.
That's a good idea. We agreed yesterday on the membership fee 2,000. That's right. Now we have to talk about what is the date of
next 10 members.
having to be paid.
My turn. I've asked before. I suggest the people that sign up today participating in that event, as well as the members of co-working Bansko that are willing to be part of this project at €200 joining fee, to be able to pay the membership fee in June next year. And for the rest of the people that want to get on board, I suggest that the membership fee should be paid 1 month within a month after paying the joining fee, but not later than June.
What about the acceptance? Okay, yeah. Sorry.
So I would say, like, we only pay the €2,000 when we can buy Coop and Bansko, otherwise why we have the money.
Okay, next topic. We can't know side information. Next.
And so in terms of the date when we acquire Coop and Bansko, I think it depends on two people. We have to ask the people who are needing to find the time to get the money. So what is the earliest we can do for them? Also, what is the earliest that Uwe and Matthias want to have the company acquired, because maybe they want to test it for a few months? I don't know. Like, so that it depends. And I think yesterday we discussed, like, June is the earliest we can do for people that don't want to pay 2,000 now. So even if you have the money, and so I mean, if you assume that in 3 weeks' time we find 35 people, why would these other people have to pay €2,000 and then have it locked for 6 months in an account somewhere? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
That's why I said, but not later than June.
No, but everybody pays when we acquire the company. The first 35 pay the same day.
Before we continue,
rephrase it and let's vote.
Okay.
Before we continue, Uwe mentions that there's a mistake in the notes, so maybe we can clarify if the notes are correct or not.
Yeah. So the joining fee for the next 10 members, we shared up to 25 members if we want. And this goes away where your mouse is right now. This goes away.
And what is the change? So just this goes away.
Up to 25.
This goes down.
No, you can keep that.
Yeah, copy it and put it down.
So can I keep it or should I copy it?
Up to 25
Shall I
total.
write it for you? The joining fee for the next 10 members goes away. The joining fee up to 25 members.
So it's 200 up to 25 and 300 up to 25. That makes sense?
What is if we have already 20 co-working months?
Then there is no 300 level. If all the co-working members pay 25 and 25, then there is no 300 level then.
Yeah, we just skip
You
300
need to
and go
take the
for 50.
notes, Matthias.
I'm taking the notes, but if everyone is saying something different, it's not working.
We voted for it.
Oh, but I'm trying to clarify what the fuck you voted on. Please tell me if this is now correct or if we still need to rephrase it.
Just let one.
And one person can clarify, then maybe it's working. Otherwise, this is confusing.
Can I comment?
Okay, please, Uwe at first.
We agreed that up to 25 members is 300. And the last 10 need to pay 400, whatever.
The last 10 after 25?
Let's just can I say something?
Okay.
We also now removed something that we agreed on. But I think also the 200 should only be 25. So we should have up to 25, both where we had it, and now we're going to put it. So now you removed it in another place.
So I can clarify.
Okay.
Okay, right.
So the idea is that members who want to join immediately within the next week should be able to do so for 200 up to 25, because if it goes over 25, then we've decided it will be 300 at that point.
Yes.
But we might only have 2 members within the next week who say yes, okay.
450.
We might only have 2 members who decide, okay, great, blah, blah, blah. Then is that correct? Up to 25. So if in the next week, up to 25, 200.
Why don't you just put it the other way around?
Finish, please.
I'm sorry.
And yes, so the joining fee for current members of co-working Bansko that want to join is 200 if they sign up before November 19th, up to a maximum of 25. Great. If we only have 5 of those people and the time passes, then it goes to 300 for up to 25. Yes. And then afterwards it's 450.
Okay,
let's keep it simple. 150, 300, and 450. Hold on. And every member of the co-working Bansko gives €100 discount.
So let's
why you we voted already on it. We vote again on it. This is stupid.
No, we don't.
We made a change. And that has happened after the vote, which is the time frame of the next week, which Matthias suggested. So based on this reading, I think we should just vote again.
Yeah, let's vote on this, yes or no.
Okay, could you please summarize it, because I don't.
Just go read this.
Okay.
Who is for it? Who is for against this?
Let us read it.
Okay.
For the switch. Before November.
No, in this tier.
I have a question.
No question. There is a mistake.
Okay, yes, please.
In the sentence, November 19 up to maximum 25 members total, not in this tier, like total. Right? If we have already 15 among us, it's only 10 that can join.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm fine with this.
Who is fine with this?
Let me finish reading. I'm a slow reader.
You're a native speaker, man.
But I'm a slow reader.
But he's American.
Matthias's hand is blocking
Not
out.
British.
We already have a majority.
I
Okay,
think so too.
Okay,
fine.
thank you for helping me clarifying the notes.
Let's get the membership quickly and go to lunch.
Okay.
Quickly.
There's
I have
there's
work
in
to
the
do.
room paying it in June,
It says July 1st there, not
July
before July
1st. Who is fine with that?
Can I ask a quick question?
Okay.
If we do get to the 35 before that, certainly we could have a vote to say, hey, let's just do this now.
No.
No, because everybody has to.
Because some people will not be able to, like, I will not be able to come up in February if we have 35 people in February.
It also gives
Okay.
the co-op time to get everything
Cool.
worked
Yeah,
out.
makes sense.
And everybody needs time to get his budget done.
Great.
Okay. Then again, who is fine with this? Paying it.
We already voted about this, but who's still fine with this?
Let's
Make it a
vote
little
twice
bit,
or three
Now
times.
asking is fine.
Everyone's okay?
Okay.
This means lunch, right?
Feeling hungry?
Yes.
I would really like to discuss just the 35 people with this, because my personal opinion is limiting for 2019, limiting the people to 35, because this is also a marketing tool to have as an argument for increasing the price.
It means you want to change the topic.
Isn't it already? Isn't it
Yes, we're
already
changing the
included?
topic.
I'm changing it. Oh, sorry.
It's already.
Isn't it already included?
Okay.
I thought it belongs to that.
Just a second. If we still have a few minutes,
Yes, it is included.
do you agree with changing the topic to that limitation?
No, it's already discussed, voted, and included in the minutes.
It's not voted.
No, it's not.
Okay, so we can vote on this.
Can we vote this now?
So can we summarize what it says? So we only allow 35 members up to the acquisition, and then we can have a wait list, and we can decide to allow more, but there is no guarantee. So it's still a marketing benefit to say you only guarantee to join if you join before the 35. As the first 35.
Yes. And then we'll have a
So
general
we have full
meeting.
marketing vote if you want, and it's already voted on.
Okay. It's,
Or,
who agrees that it's already voted on?
Let's just vote it now.
Yes. I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I don't know.
Lunchtime.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we will have lunch at Mommy Divori.
For lunch, no? Lunch? We're going to lunch.
I have a different idea.
Let's go
Ja.
this way.
Das ist auch dann, wir machen ja einen
Wieder eine Inkubation machen und sagen, okay, die letzten 5 sind nicht mehr so wichtig und wir können schon bei 30 starten und die letzten 5.
Ich denke, wir finden die 35. Ist eher, das werden wir nicht zum ersten Juli finden, das ist zum ersten 12. finden oder so. Aber das ist dann der Vertrag, den wir mit der Coop machen.
You weren't even here on
Ja, das
Friday.
muss ich mir den Beilass verkaufen. Aber ich denke, wir finden die 35. Ich habe gesagt, jetzt nicht mehr 35. Na, wir haben die Leute hier im Raum, müssen sich committen, die Members können sich committen und dann die anderen können sich committen. Ich glaube, das ist super.
Respectable. But sitting at 4 was legally, it's good to. And I slept really well.
So, wer ist nur zufrieden soweit?